One employee remains missing. Another victim identified as Alan Stevens died at a nearby hospital. The cause remains under investigation. Federal judge will announce her sentence for a 25-year-old arrested in a 2012 FBI terrorism sting after trying to ignite what he thought was a real bomb outside of a Chicago bar. Judge's sentence today for Adel Daoud follows a hearing late last week. Prosecutors want a 40-year prison term. The defense wants Daoud to be released by 2021. Family and friends are still searching for a pregnant mail carrier who went missing last fall on Chicago's South Side. A reward of more than $46,000 is being offered for information on the whereabouts of Kiara Coles, last seen in October near her home in the 8100 block of South Vernon Avenue.
My sister gone forever. And I wish and I hope that somebody out there or somebody that do know what's going on can help us give her a safe return.
Community activists yesterday also raised awareness about two other missing Chicago women. Authorities investigating after a man was hit and killed by an SUV on the Dan Ryan. Police say the SUV struck Jovan Towers early yesterday while he was lying down in the far right lane near West 69th Street. The driver was not hurt and has not been charged with a crime. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said over the weekend he's hammered out an agreement with some key lawmakers on a plan to legalize recreational marijuana in the state starting next year. While the Illinois law would take effect January 1st, the licenses would not be issued until July of 2020. The measure would be introduced today, kicking off debate in the legislature, where Democrats, of course, hold a majority in both chambers. Former Illinois State Senate President and Democrat National Committee member Thomas Hines has died. He was 80. Hines died Saturday at Northwestern Memorial Hospital from complications of Parkinson's disease. He was a powerhouse in Chicago and Democrat politics for decades. His political career as an insider spanned from 1970, elected to the state Senate, until it ended in 2014. Prison guards who can get to work right away can pocket an extra $4,000 from the federal government. The Thompson Prison is offering signing bonuses for guards who can start by September 1st and work for at least a full year. An Illinois teen football standout who had recently been featured in Sports Illustrated is dead. 14-year-old Jalen McKenzie was struck by a stray bullet after a fight broke out at a large party in the southern Illinois community of Venice. McKenzie and another 15-year-old were hospitalized after shots were fired. McKenzie was an 8th grader at Central Junior High in Belleville. Two bills are pending in the Illinois General Assembly that would pause or permanently eliminate a basic skills test for new teachers in the state that supporters say has contributed to a statewide educator shortage. Starting June 30th, the Illinois State Board of Education will put the test of academic proficiency on hold as the agency considers alternative solutions to evaluate prospective teachers. By the way, that test has a 25% pass rate. Chris Bryant hit his 4th career grand slam. Cubs hammered the Cardinals 13-5 at Wrigley Field.
I feel great. I really wanted it. I seen the ball good. Got it in the air. That was just good. It felt really good to see results after all the hard work that I've been putting in.
Xander Bogaerts crushed a grand slam in a 7-run 8th inning. Red Sox beat the White Sox 9-2 in Chicago. Bears continue to make moves after rookie camp. Team signing offensive lineman Tommy Doles and defensive end Jalen Dalton, cutting kickers Redford Jones and John Barron. The news service of Express Services Incorporated, you work hard. Now it's time to put your experience to work and launch your business. For a limited time, Express Employment Professionals will give you $25,000 to open your franchise. Get to know Express. Visit expressfranchising.com today. 5:07, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager sees one major threat to our union.
The existential threat. They love the word existential threat. But I also believe there's an existential threat, but mine is actually rational. I believe there's an existential threat to the world and especially to the United States, and that is leftism. As the United States of America will cease to exist if the left obtain power. Look at Venezuela. Look everywhere they touch.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Safety. It's so important at your industrial facility. You need to keep your personnel safe and meet OSHA requirements. One problem with your ladders, platforms, or safety guards, and you could be facing costly fines. Vans Industrial helps you meet OSHA standards to keep your employees safe.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. As a business owner, I realize the importance of keeping my employees safe, and I'm here to offer my expertise. Vans Industrial is a specialty contractor uniquely equipped to design, fabricate, and install safety equipment, including walkways, handrails, stairways, and machinery guards. Our Vans Industrial team can inspect existing systems, engineer solutions, fabricate quality goods, and install them with trained pros, all making a safer environment for your employees.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest level, to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND. That's 833-VANS-IND. Or on the web at vansindustrial.com.
Hey, if you're missing teeth or even a single tooth, then dental implants are a fantastic way to regain your confidence, your smile, and your dental health. Hey, Sean Hannity here. So what are you waiting for? Find out now if implants are for you. Successful implants don't come from an implant factory. Skill, treatment, installation, those are the main differences for successful lifelong implants. That's why you need to see Dr. Neruzzi at Fox River Periodontics. Dr. Neruzzi is the recommended choice of dentists that don't do implants themselves. You need the experience, the skill, and honesty that over 25 years of dental implants brings, and you're going to be happy with your implant. It's not a mass production procedure because everyone is different. And Dr. Neruzzi wants to talk to you about dental implants today.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants.
Call Fox River Periodontics at 630-232-7400. They're online at implantsforme.com.
A new poll says more Americans approve of President Trump than they do the big media. That's why millions are tuning in to Newsmax TV, America's new conservative channel. On Newsmax TV, see Bill O'Reilly, Pat Buchanan, Alan Dershowitz, Mike Reagan, and more. Bill O'Reilly's No Spin News Show is on Newsmax TV. Get it on DirecTV Channel 349, Xfinity 1115, Dish 216, UVerse 1220, Fios 615, and Spectrum. Newsmax TV. Real news for real people.
Mother's Day is this Sunday, and ProFlowers makes it easy to order like a pro with this amazing deal. Send Mom a dozen beautiful assorted roses for just $19.99. Order now and you can double your roses and get a premium vase for an extra $9.99. That's 2 dozen roses and a premium vase. The only way to get this amazing deal is to go to proflowers.com, click on the microphone in the upper right corner, and enter code 4343. That's proflowers.com, code 4343.
With more than 6,000 hotels across the country, including La Quinta, Days Inn, and Super 8, a great hotel by Wyndham is closer than you think. Find one near you and book direct at wyndhamhotels.com.
5:11 on AM 560. It's time for a dry basement and a healthy home. It's time to call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. Time to check the roads this early morning in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Expressways and tollways are looking pretty good at this hour. There was a stall on the inbound Bryan right near the Stevenson and the express lanes. That has cleared. We're not seeing any delays right now on the Ryan. I-57, Bishop Ford freeways. Weekend work is wrapping up. No real delays to report yet. Edens is fine. Kennedy as well. Reversibles are open inbound. The Eisenhower and the Stevenson are fine. On the Tri-State Tollway southbound, Deerfield to Lake Cook. There's work in the 2 left lanes. No delays at the moment. Northwest Indiana's looking okay. Starting today in Wheaton and Glen Ellen, construction will cause restrictions on Butterfield, Naperville Road and 53. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Clouds and showers today, high 66. For tonight, it'll be cloudy with a few showers, low 42. A morning shower tomorrow, then breezy, high 53. Wednesday, clouds and breezy, rain and a thunderstorm in the morning, the high Wednesday 54. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
57 at O'Hare, 55 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and I knew I should have put all of my Bitcoin on Country House.
Yeah. You would have made some big cash there.
Were you at the Derby on Saturday? Is that why you were absent without leave last week?
No, I was in D.C. We did the trip, and then I went to L.A., and I'm back, and I don't want to travel for a long time, and I'm happy to be home.
Did you go to one of your Derby soirees with the hat regalia?
Yeah, we did
that?
watch. Yeah. We didn't watch one of we watched the Derby out in Orange County in Ladero Beach or Ladero Ranch, whatever town my friend lives in. And we were shocked because
you were in D.C. and then you were in
I was
Orange
in D.C.
County
and then I was
Saturday?
in Orange County, yeah.
Oh, I was Globetrotter.
It's exhausting. But I was shocked. I mean, I've never seen that before. That's never happened, right, in the Derby history?
That's why you've never seen it before.
Right, because it didn't. Well, do you think it's political correctness, or do you think that the horse really got out of his lane, so to speak, and...
I think it's the worst call since Roy Jones was robbed of gold in 1988 in Seoul.
Well, you and President Trump are like, he tweeted that the Kentucky Derby decision was not a good one. It was a rough and tumble race on a wet and sloppy track. Actually a beautiful thing to watch. Only in these days of political correctness could such an overturn occur.
I don't know how political correctness fits in exactly, but and I don't know that much about horse racing, to be honest.
Well, he did nudge the other, horses out.
Yeah, so
you can't see it. I mean, unless you're blind, you can't see it.
Defer to Dan Wolken at USA Today and other sports writers who actually cover horse racing. And I'm not even going to try to do my Phil George F. impersonation. There's a reason which the Derby, this is Dan Wolken in the USA Today, there's a reason the Derby, which is always a rough race, run with plenty of bumping and jostling throughout, has never had a winner disqualified due to interference. Unless the foul was egregious enough to clearly change the result, the horse that finished first on the wire should stand. That standard wasn't met on Saturday, not by a wide margin. He goes on to say, look, there's no doubt that a few seconds before maximum security hit the quarter pole, he veered out to the right a bit, perhaps responding to crowd noise. In doing so, he forced War of Will, racing next to him, to slide right, which in turn caused long-range Toddy to check up and to avoid a collision. But he points out the stewards disqualified the best horse over an incident that impacted two also-rans while giving the victory to another horse who was never going to win on his own. How does that make sense? Yeah, I think that seems to be a pretty good summary as a layman watching the race. How does that make sense? Doesn't make sense.
And everybody was so excited when it happened, when, the real winner won.
Maximum Security wins the Kentucky Derby!
Well,
and it took 22.
That guy was excited.
Yeah, but it took 22 minutes for them to decide that he was disqualified, and a new winner, Country House, was in the charge.
The riders of the 18 and 20 horses in the Kentucky Derby lodged objections against the 7-horse, the winner, due to interference. We determined that the 7-horse drifted out and impacted the progress of number 1, in turn interfering with the 18 and 21.
And so some people, though, Dan, were going through the trash looking for their tickets.
Well, so if you had a 65-1 shot, which is what Country House was, I'd be looking for my ticket, too. It's a pretty good payday.
Yeah, a $2 bet, got you $103 in cash.
Well, I think your math is a little off.
Well,
65-1.
Yeah, if you put
$2
ticket,
bet.
how much?
I think that pays out $132.
Oh, so it was a little. It's just skimming a little off the top for us.
$132.40 to be exact, is what Country Horse paid out. It's the second biggest long shot in Kentucky Derby history. It's always fun. I stopped by USO of Illinois, has a Kentucky Derby
Oh, yeah.
fiesta. So I stopped by that. And then I left, after after Maximum Security. He won, there's a challenge, whatever, but you never expect it to be overturned, particularly for the Derby. So it's rather stunning. Kevin Rooney tweeting, the way Maximum Security had his victory stolen from him because of some perceived interference, you'd have to think that Country House is a tired pantsuit-wearing old nag running the Derby for the third time, and the track judges are all Democrats. Well done.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hey guys, Ken here from Income Store. I needed to take a minute just to brag on our almost 200 amazing employees. In 2009, we changed our tagline to, we can grow any business in any industry at any time. The world trusted us and helped us become a 5-time Inc. 5000 honoree. Our 200 employees have done two major things at the same time. We manage 1,800 money-making websites and over 260 e-commerce sites for our client partners across the globe. 34% of Americans visited one of these assets last year. But at the same time, these amazing employees have stopped their life every single week and recorded videos and podcasts of exactly how we grow these digital assets. If you're looking to figure out how we do it, just go to door number 1. It's free. You can study thousands of hours of material on how to grow your business. If you have money but no time, go to door number 2. It's a bit pricey, but our managed services are absolutely incredible. You got to check out IncomeStore.com. Our 200 employees are absolutely amazing.
The school year is rapidly coming to an end. Maybe you're looking back this past year and you aren't too happy with your child's school experience. Well, now's the perfect time to start thinking about doing something different this fall. Don't send your child back to a school that you just aren't happy with. Start thinking about sending your child to a private school at half the regular price, thanks to halfpriceschools.com. At halfpriceschools.com, you can find local private schools from all over Chicagoland, offering vouchers for a full year of tuition at half the price with no catch. Find a school near you, purchase the tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school this fall. It's that simple. Halfpriceschools.com has schools located across Chicagoland, including Schaumburg Christian, Westminster Christian in Elgin, Kingswood Academy in Darien, Midwestern Christian in Chicago, Covenant Christian in Aurora, Christian Liberty Academy in Arlington Heights, Calvin Christian School in South Holland, and many others. Make private school affordable for your family for the first time this year. These vouchers will sell out, so visit halfpriceschools.com today. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
If you've been in business more than 20 minutes, you've probably printed your logo on all kinds of promotional products. We all know promotional products work because they're everywhere from sales meetings and corporate events to trade shows. Ever wondered why or how to best use promotional products to grow your business? Let us show you today for free. We're 4imprint, promotional product experts at your service. We're giving away an ebook called Promotional Products Work, absolutely free, to everyone who texts radio to 88988. At 4imprint, we make your logo look perfect on thousands of promotional items. With our 100% guarantee, it'll be right the first time, on time, every time. Your free ebook will reveal valuable insights that can attract new customers, build your brand, help your cause, or simply grow your business. Get the ebook Promotional Products Work absolutely free by texting radio to 88988. That's RADIO to 88988.
Well, I am very thankful for Balance of Nature. It helped give me the stamina and energy to last 3 days, taking 74 8th graders through Washington, D.C. And it'll work for you. I didn't get sick. People were coughing and sneezing in confined spaces for hours. Nothing this way. And I feel great because of Balance of Nature. It's 10 servings of 31 fruits and veggies, all in a single capsule. Admit it, none of us eat enough fruits and veggies on our own. And that's why Balance of Nature is so great. It's easy. It's healthy. Pop 3 capsules in the morning. You can take them at night, whatever you prefer. And I've met the founder, Dr. Douglas Howard, founder and creator of Balance of Nature. He showed me the emails, played the voicemails he receives from real people who are living healthier and happier lives because of Balance of Nature. And from now until May 10th, receive a 15% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. And just in time for Mother's Day, receive an extra $10 off any additional set of fruits and veggies that you purchase. But again, the offer ends May 10th. Do not wait. Call now, 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or go to balanceofnature.com, promo code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, in the wake of many of these school shootings, one of the topics that's been debated as part of the remedy to harden the targets, right? To harden the target for schools, maybe, particularly schools in this case, but certainly that's been a conversation as well with houses of worship. And so what are some states doing? Some states are moving in that direction. Florida House last week passed a bill that will provide teachers with the ability to carry guns in the classroom. Teachers and school districts can opt out of the program. However, if a teacher does agree to join, they undergo police-style training, psychiatric evaluation, drug tests. This legislation now heads to Governor DeSantis' desk in Florida for signature. So teachers in Florida carrying in the classroom, properly trained and background checked. And in Iowa, Amy,
the Hawkeye State,
your neck of the woods, a couple of school districts in Iowa now offering a mandatory gun training safety class to 7th and 8th grade students and a voluntary class for high schoolers in the evenings. It's a hunter safety course, so that there will be no hunting.
Wait, it's titled a hunter's safety course?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please understand, writes the superintendent, we do not believe that all the students will be hunting, nor do we expect them to. The expectation is that through this, all students will be exposed to firearm safety and as such learn to respect and how to manage and control firearms. Whether it will be for hunting purposes or possibly for a young person to need to know how to handle them, everyone may need to know how to responsibly handle a firearm at some point in their life. We would prefer that they learn in the proper way and learn to respect firearms and their capabilities through proper training by qualified and well-trained individuals who educate others for a living. It's a 1-week class.
I think that's a great idea because people are so fearful of what they don't know. And if they actually took a course, they could understand, I can handle a firearm, and you can learn how to do that responsibly. And I love the fact, too, I used to be against teachers carrying in the classroom, but I love that now. I mean, especially if they get the background checks, they get, psychological testing, they get drug tested, because we have to stop these school shooters somehow, and that's, honestly, the best line of defense. I mean, it's another responsibility for them, but it's better than ending up dead.
312-642-5600, Turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, Turnkey.pro text line. Your thoughts on the idea of educating children about firearms in grade school, 7th and 8th grade, in this case in Iowa, and arming teachers in the classroom. Again, there's opt-outs in everything that's been proposed, including with this course as well as with the legislation in Florida. Students, again, going back to the students, will learn how to load and unload ammo and how to hold and care for firearms. They will also learn how to safely carry a gun and how to recognize when a firearm is loaded.
That's great.
No live ammo will be
that's...
used. Right, of course.
Why'd you break up with me?
It's
you didn't take me to the prom, and now you're gonna pay. Nothing like that.
Right,
okay.
Not gonna play Cowboys and Indians or anything like that. It's a serious business, very much like the Eddie Eagle safety program, the NRA.
Oh, that's right. And it said that the classes started this semester, and again, non-firing guns and replica ammunition are used, not actual guns. And you can see, I'm looking at some pictures of the training gun that they used, and yeah, I think it's a good idea. Looks good to me.
Craig in Mount Greenwood, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Hey, I happen to be a part-time instructor. And I sent a letter to Rauner back when he was in there, and to the education secretary, that stating that I don't have a concealed carry. I don't belong to the NRA. I don't have any guns in my house or anything. But if they train me to basically, so I carry a little small pistol hidden and everything like that. If I heard shots in it, I'd run to it, and I'd basically, as long as I could return a bullet for a bullet and everything, and defend myself and everything, I'd go and I'd do it. And so I'm.
Are you a teacher?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, and I would do it. So if they train me and all that, I'd carry a little hidden pistol, and just because here's why. Look at all the instructors. Well, first of all, this term guardians they use. I know of a couple of instructors, they do it illegal. I don't want to break the law to do it, but I know instructors that basically they feel so strongly about it. But I don't think that's the right way to go. You shouldn't do it illegally. You should, they should give it a training and let the instructors that want to protect do it.
Let me ask you this, Craig. If you've had discussions with some of your fellow teachers about this and what the general attitude is, I mean, particularly in some CPS schools that are sort of dangerous on a daily basis, much less the prospect of a school shooting incident.
Yeah, I don't get your question, but I'm a part-time college instructor.
Okay. Well, at whatever level you teach, have you had a conversation with your fellow teachers about this and what's sort of the attitude?
Oh, the attitude, it's mixed. It's really mixed because there's a couple of instructors that basically have military and police backgrounds in that, and they're teachers and they're part-time instructors, and they've actually carried illegally in that in that, but then you talk to some and they don't want to see a gun or hear about a gun, and so it's mixed. But they should just allow the instructors to feel comfortable. And that I'd feel comfortable if they gave all the training and checking and background check. I'd feel perfectly comfortable doing it.
Okay, thanks for the call, Craig. Appreciate it. Dan in Lake Zurich.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, I think both ideas are a good idea. Back when I was in high school, we used to actually bring our guns to school on the bus for Trap and Pistol Club and store them in our lockers, and nobody was shooting anybody because everybody had respect for the gun.
Yeah, exactly.
And knew the danger of it. And that was here in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Wasn't out too far from the city.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Dan. It's a great point. It's a great example. People probably hear that and they're stunned. I mean, you couldn't even conceive of that today. You couldn't conceive of a Lincoln Park gun club, but there used to be one until Mayor Daley, Richard M., got rid of it. And some phony baloney environmental concern about lead in the water, a bunch of nonsense.
Was that his reasoning?
But yeah,
my dad was in ROTC at Lane Tech, and they shine up their rifles and uniforms and bring them to school every day.
You see,
so strange.
Gun clubs I go to, you see all the time, dad with his son and going through the particulars, and you see actually dads with sons that you could tell are already trained because they're more meticulous probably than I am, and I'm pretty meticulous when I'm on a range, as everybody should be. So, I mean, what you said, Amy, is exactly right, and it goes to what Dan Lake Zurich was saying. Demystifying it. It's an inanimate object. The human being has the ability to exercise dominion over it and make good judgments with it. Kind of pressing aside all the hysteria surrounding guns.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Trump and China don't look close to a trade deal at 5:38.
And look what could be coming to Chicago and Illinois. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
57 degrees this early Monday morning. Russian emergency workers have recovered 41 bodies and 2 flight recorders from the wreckage of a plane that caught fire during an emergency landing in Moscow. The plane was an Aeroflot SSJ-100 carrying 78. The Israeli military lifted protective restrictions on residents in southern Israel this morning, while Gaza's ruling Hamas militant group reported a ceasefire deal had been brokered by Egypt. Schools and roads in Israel had been closed. Residents encouraged to remain indoors and near bomb shelters as intense rocket fire pounded the area. Japanese media report President Trump and Japan Prime Minister Shinzo Abe will talk about weapons North Korea fired over the weekend. Chinese media reporting the country's vice premier may shorten his planned visit to Washington for trade talks if he comes at all. Vice Premier Leo Hu could still travel to the U.S. this week for trade talks, but a much shorter visit than previously planned. This after President Trump's tweet on Sunday that he'll now increase tariffs on about $200 billion in Chinese products. The markets were down on the news, but overseas markets are mixed, up in London, down in Germany and Paris. Testimony from Attorney General Bill Barr to Congress was called misleading over the weekend by Illinois U.S. Senator Dick Durbin.
Let's be honest about it. Attorney General Barr not only received that letter from Bob Mueller saying in writing that he disagreed with the Attorney General's characterization of the Mueller report. He then had a telephone conversation with him to follow.
The Illinois Democrat on CBS's Face the Nation. The White House decision to dispatch an aircraft carrier and other military resources to send a message to Iran followed clear indications that Iranian and Iranian proxy forces were possibly preparing to attack U.S. forces in the region. Meantime, the Pentagon says 2 U.S. warships sailed near islands China claims in the South China Sea. 7th Fleet says the guided missile destroyer made passage to challenge excessive maritime claims by China. A manhunt is underway for a cop killer in Mississippi. Police in Biloxi say an officer was shot several times. This morning, more than 160 newspaper staffers are looking for work after everyone yesterday at the New Orleans Times-Picayune was fired. Staffers were laid off after the 182-year-old paper was sold to crosstown owners of the rival New Orleans Advocate. The death toll of last week's massive explosion at A&B Specialty Silicones factory in Waukegan is now at 3.
Watching TV downstairs and heard the windows shake in the house and asked my wife, did you feel that too?
One employee is still missing after the massive explosion. Another victim, identified as Alan Stevens, died at a nearby hospital. Workers across the state of Illinois could soon get paid sick time, no matter what job they do. The Illinois Senate last week approved a plan to give workers 7 paid sick days. Now, supporters say the sick days will allow people to stay home when they need to and not lose their jobs. But opponents point out the sick days are not just for being sick. The plan specifically will allow people to take time off for court or to visit someone in jail or for other matters. Cubs hammer the Cardinals 13-5 at Wrigley Field. Red Sox beat the White Sox 9-2. 5:34, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson. Spring is the perfect time to take notice of any paint issues. Call the professionals at CertaPro Painters right away to take care of your home. Our front porch and back porches were chipping and peeling, just an eyesore. But CertaPro Painters swooped in and made a huge difference. They also painted a majority of our rooms in our house, the quality, service, and attention to detail like no other paint company. You know, spring is the season of change. Time to change your wall color or exterior and transform your home with an updated new look. And if you want some help with colors, they've got you covered with in-home color consultation or online with a color visualizer. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting expert. Schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
Hi, my name's Christina Stumble, and I own Farm Girl Flowers in San Francisco. With my Spark Cash Card from Capital One, I earn unlimited 2% cash back on all my business purchases. Last year, I redeemed $115,000 in cash back. Yeah, $115,000. And that doubled our digital marketing budget for the summer. Thanks to my Spark Card, we had our best summer yet. Imagine what the Spark Card from Capital One could do for your business. What's in your wallet?
Real Capital One customers pay for real stories. Credit approval required.
At Dell, we know running a small business takes hard work. As a thank you, for all of Small Business Month, we're offering up to 45% off select computers with Intel Core processors. Plus, get additional savings when you call a Dell Small Business Technology Advisor. Call 877-BUY-DELL today. That's 877-BUY-DELL. Additional savings valid May 6th through 30th at 8 a.m. Eastern on select computers from customer calls Dell. Excludes Dell Canvas, PowerEdge T30, and select order codes.
Check out Ground Game, the latest podcast from the Associated Press discussing the top political issues around the country. Available on Apple Podcasts.
5:37, a check on the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Traffic is building at O'Hare this morning. We're seeing some congestion on westbound 190 for traffic coming into the airport area. Slow going from River Road to Manheim. The outbound Kennedy has some congestion as well approaching 190. Looking at about 23 minutes downtown to the airport. Inbound okay at 20. Reversibles are open on the inbound side. Edens is clear. On Eisenhower. It's getting a little bit tight around Des Plaines Avenue. Inbound Stevenson. Got about a 3-minute delay. Cicero to Kedzie. Bryan, about a 3-minute delay from Cermak to the Burns Circle. I-57's good. Bishop Ford, 18 minutes, 80-94 to the merge. Tollways are light, but there is road work on the southbound Tri-State Deerfield Road to Lake Cook. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, and your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, couple of showers expected today, not as warm, a high of 66. Showers continue to sprinkle through the overnight, low 42. Clouds and sun tomorrow with a shower in some spots, high 53. 57 at O'Hare, next news at 6. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy comes your way now. And make sure to join me, Sebastian Gorka, tonight at 10, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, in a pair of tweets on Sunday. President Trump wrote that he planned to raise taxes on $200 billion of Chinese imports to 25% from 10%. He also wrote he'd impose 25% tariffs shortly on another $325 billion of Chinese goods that haven't been taxed yet, because the trade deal with China continues, but too slowly as they attempt to renegotiate, tweeted President Trump. Here we go again. Good idea, bad idea. And this, of course, comes on the heels of an outstanding jobs report on Friday. Lowest unemployment rate since Nixon was president. Lowest unemployment rate for Latinos in history since it's been tracked. And so the economy at 3.2% GDP growth in Q1. A lot of good numbers, productivity growth, wage growth, a lot of good numbers. And so I understand what it will be tempting to say that, well, it's working. And so just let Trump be Trump. It's working. And look at those numbers. It's always difficult to prove a negative. What could have been if we were not imposing taxes on American consumers to try to punish the Chinese and get to a trade deal with them, which is what we're doing. But do you have any concerns? Because you can be flying high in May and shot down in June, like June of 2020, if you're not careful with the use of tariffs, in my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of economists, and in the recording of history of the pursuit of these sorts of policies. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. We've given Trump a lot of bandwidth with respect to China and his approach, mainly through the use of tariffs and Twitter, to bring China to the table and get a trade deal that reduced barriers, as Larry Kudlow has oft argued, reduce barriers across the board to make the situation more free trade. We're 2.5 years in, and we're not there yet. Are you still content to defer to the president in this policy approach?
Well, first of all, his two tweets are wreaking havoc on the global markets right now. And, well, Shanghai Stock Exchange, Hong Kong, and then they're supposed to have trade talks on Wednesday, and now they're not happy with Trump's tweets, and they might not even show up to the meeting on Wednesday. So, I mean, when our stock markets open soon, I think it's going to be a bad day on Wall Street.
Yeah, but I mean, that's, we've gone through this before.
Back, it's a hiccup.
I mean, look at what the market has done in Trump. Look at what it's done just in 2019 after the Christmas massacre for a few days there. So, but beyond the market, it's the things that Trump says, and I mean, it's just not true. He tweeted, and I'm quoting him, "For 10 months, China's been paying tariffs to the USA of 25% on $50 billion of high tech and 10% on $200 billion of other goods. These payments are partially responsible for our great economic results. The 10% will go up to 25% on Friday, and then $325 billion in additional goods at 25%. The tariffs paid to the USA have had little impact on product costs, mostly borne by China. The trade deal with China continues, but too slowly as they attempt to renegotiate. No exclamation point. That's not true. It's just factually incorrect that China is paying tariffs, number one, that the tariffs are partially responsible for our great economic results. You tax your way to prosperity. We know that's not the case.
No.
We that's a laugh line when Democrats suggest it. It's the same laugh line when President Trump suggested. So, again, the deregulation, the tax cuts under President Trump that have in part propelled the economy, super fantastic, great, and he deserves some credit. Of course, presidents always get too much credit and too much blame for the economy's performance. But in this case, those policies, particularly deregulation, have had a material positive impact. There's no question. There's also no question what he says about tariffs is untrue. It's just untrue. Just a point of fact, and a little historical perspective, researchers at the IMF examined tariff increases in 151 different countries over the last 50 years. They found that correlated with such policies were significant declines in domestic output and productivity, more unemployment, higher inequality. And, of course, the United States is not immune to the forces of economics, which are just the forces of human beings interacting with one another and incentives, right?
Right.
A tariff is a tax. What you tax, you get less of. Is that not clear? It is also clear that, with few exceptions, the tariffs impose economic costs on American consumers and workers. Tariffs are taxes imposed on imported goods paid for by U.S. importers, not China.
Not China. That's why I was taken back by his tweets. And, I mean, in the past, this could be, his negotiating tactics, but I think there's a good chance that this may backfire on him, especially if they cancel the meetings on Wednesday.
Well, it's more the question of, I almost can't believe he actually believes some of what he's saying. I think if you want to argue that tariffs as a tactic to show he is willing to endure some punishment to American consumers because the punishment to the Chinese is that much greater, and that's a way to force them to the table and to a deal that reduces trade barriers, including tariffs. Okay, that there's an argument to be made there. That's a political argument in which you're willing to endure some short-term economic costs. What he's saying, though, is turning Econ 101 on its head. And I'm just not going to abide that. So, again, so much good economic news, and it's buoying the president's approval rating, and that's great, but we got a long way to go. And this is a backwards policy. Okay? This is backwards policy. I'm happy to have the discussion with anybody who wants to have it. The evidence is so overwhelming. The certain laws of economics are pretty much immutable. This is one of them. This is not a close call. It's not really a particularly interesting debate because there is so little available in defense of the president's position on it.
Well, because everybody, Republicans and Democrats alike, and independents, they know that what he tweeted is not true. That's not how it has been working. China has not been paying.
Well, Democrats, though, are fine with this policy because Democrats are the party of taxing your way to prosperity, of picking winners and losers, and industries, as well as individual businesses. That's what they want to do. That's what central planners aim to do. Well, this is akin to that. On this specific policy approach, this is akin to that. So Trump is very much pursuing the policies of the left on this approach. That's the economics. You want to argue the politics? You can argue that too. Now, he's not the only one not making sense on China. Joe Biden, who, by the way, for everybody, and we talk to these pundits all the time, who poses the greatest threat to President Trump? Joe Biden. I don't think so. I think Joe Biden is the candidate Trump most wants to run against.
Oh, so do I.
And I think Joe Biden is the candidate least equipped to beat Trump. And it's not just because of his age or his intervening in Ukraine to help out his kid or his past voting record that's out of step with the Democrat socialists of the day, aspects of it, not all of it. His stepping all over himself, still trying to sort of figure out what his position was and now currently is on the Clarence Thomas hearing. It's because of statements like this. You want to talk about somebody who's oblivious, and this is also highlights why the previous 2 times he ran, he was a footnote in those races.
Right.
He talking
1%
about
in Iowa.
Yeah, talking about China. He said the Chinese can't figure out how they're going to deal with the corruption that exists within the system. I mean, they're not bad folks, but guess what? They're not competition for us. Really. They're not bad folks, but they're not competition for us. Well, they are bad folks. They're communists. They're central planners. That's a repressive regime. Perhaps you should familiarize yourself with Tiananmen Square and the other human rights abuses of the Chinese, thus the debate that we had in this country, Joe Biden might remember, about conferring MNF status, MFN status to China, most favored nation trading status. They're not competition for us? Well, there's a whole lot of manufacturers there, Scranton Joe, who may disagree with you. Remarkable, and he knows how much of a gaffe it was, so he tried to walk it back in during a fundraiser in South Carolina. I don't suggest it's not a problem. I've been tough on them. I've spent more time with Xi Jinping than anybody else because that's the nature of my job. Yeah, okay. This is Ilhan Omar quality in terms of ignorance. They're not bad folks, and they're not competition for us. Wrong on both scores. Frank in Arlington Heights, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, hi, Dan and Amy. With all due respect, I just think you're wrong on free trade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at the history, the Morrill tariff, the Dingley tariff, we had very good economic growth in the late 1800s. The Forde-McCumber tariff helped lead to very good economic growth in the 1920s.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at, and as you note, and as all the laissez-faire cultists from the economic schools and the economic classes that you and I have both taken, as they know, when you have a trade deficit, you have a capital surplus. But what they don't tell you is that capital surplus comes mostly from foreigners. So we have foreign ownership of a lot of our country.
So
We've had 70,000 factories go overseas. We've had wages drop. We've had, for a lot of people in the working class, these are not good economic things. Protectionism worked not just for our country in the past. Protectionism worked for many other countries, including China right now. So protectionism
you don't believe in
a clear record of historical achievement, not free trade. Free trade destroys countries. Free trade destroyed Britain. That's what it did.
Do you? So you don't believe in the free movement of capital either? Huh. You don't want foreign investment.
I believe in having. If you have the free movement of capital, you also are going to have the free movement of labor, and you're going to have open borders. Your system that you advocate, free trade, goes hand in glove with globalism and the elimination of borders. I want a country. So you said not to bring up the political arguments.
No, I didn't say that.
Economic arguments.
Yeah, both.
Because protection. Well, okay, that's fine. I'll give you both. But protectionism did lead to serious, very good economic growth at times that we've employed it as a country. And the Republican Party used to be protectionist. And then it got captured by a bunch of neocons and went to free trade. And that has helped destroy this country. And you wonder why this country is screwed up? You wonder why this country has all the social problems it has? It's because we've moved away from protectionism. And the problem with the Republican Party is the, in quotes, conservatives who advocate for free trade. And you wonder why we can't win and why we can't be a majority party? Because we don't appeal to the working class. We don't appeal to the working class because it appears as if we don't care for them. We don't care for them because we are not protectionist. We're not looking out for the American people.
Thanks for the call, Frank. I mean, just data. Okay. Here's the thing about the political argument first, I guess. I'm all for the Republican Party having a formal, clean break with the big business rent seekers and their essentially representatives like the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I'm not into the rent seeking. I'm not into playing favorites. I'm into rules of the game that are transparent and equally applied, and competitive model. The idea that protectionism has led to good economic growth in some industries at the expense of others, including taxpayers. I refer you again to a study of tariffs over 50 years in 151 different countries. What were the results? Declines in domestic output and productivity, more unemployment, higher inequality. Interesting. We see that, according to the Institute for International Economics, the annual consumer losses per job saved in industries where tariffs were applied to protect them.
Yeah.
Book manufacturing, consumer losses, $500 million a year. Annual consumer losses per job saved, 234,000. Just an example. Textiles and apparel, $27 million per year in consumer losses. $98,000 to $98,000 in annual consumer losses per job saved. Carbon steel, $6.8 billion in consumer losses. Consumer losses per job saved, 1.75 million. 1.75 million per job saved. And you go bolts, nuts, large screws, 1.3 million per job saved. Automobiles, 245 grand per job saved. Motorcycles, 351 grand per job saved. Color TVs, 982 grand per job saved. And go on and on. The point is to say that the central planners don't know here any better than they know in any other sector of life in a free society. Somehow those people that you don't trust, they know what they're doing in terms of saying we're going to protect these jobs and protect these industries at the expense of the others. And oh, by the way, yes, Bastiat, one of those free market thinkers that you discount, Frank and Arlingtonites, said you look at economics through the eye of the consumer. What was the genius of Walmart? The genius of Walmart was making everyday goods more affordable to lower to middle income families. That was Sam Walton's whole insight. So reducing the price of goods increases the standard of living, right? And so what are you doing here with taxation? Tariff's a fun word. Taxation, increasing the price artificially. What are you doing? You're making people devote more of their household income to these daily items as well as higher end purchases, like, for example, cars. And how did the protectionism that was afforded the auto industry in the 70s work out? Make it more competitive, more dynamic? I think it's a difficult case to make out. So you don't have to be for open borders when it comes to immigration policy and the movement of labor. You can pre-qualify human beings because they're more complicated than capital, and still believe in what the history reflects, what the real record reflects, that the reason that America is the most powerful and richest country the world has ever seen is not because of protectionism, it's because of trade.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You know the old saying, the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. Well, on the other side of the fence is grass from Central Sod Farms. As everything starts to come alive outside, you may be looking at your lawn and scratching your head. You've tried year after year and it's still not a pretty sight. Central Sod can help. When it comes to lawns, one of the best values for your money is sod. It just doesn't make sense to spend all the time and effort working on your lawn, overseeding bare spots, raking, and weed issues. Be done with it and call the professionals at Central Sod. They've been growing beautiful lawns for over 40 years, and you'll get great sod, fast service, and expert how-to advice. Fresh cut sod, always available at one of their 7 sales yards throughout Chicagoland. Or order sod online at centralsod.com for next day delivery. That's centralsod.com. You can also call 800-310-0402. Central Sod Farms. Real grass, real fast.
Hey, got a great sleep last night, all thanks to MyPillow. It's the best pillow on the market, and they have a lot of items that you can get, including a mattress topper. And you want to check that out before you go and buy a new expensive mattress. It revitalizes your sleep, and it revitalizes your mattress. It really does. Its 3-layer design includes the MyPillow foam for support, transitional foam to help relieve those pressure points, and an ultra-soft patented temperature-regulating cover that's washable and dryable. Plus, Mike Lindell's 60-day money-back guarantee. You'll get the total body support you need, sleep better, and save a lot of money. And right now, save 30% off of your MyPillow mattress topper when you use promo code Amy+ as a way of saying thank you. They'll give you 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free. So visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201. Promo code Amy.
Hi, I'm Tom Sadeka, President and CEO of Precision Payroll of America. We're the 34-year-old company whose first employee and first client are still working together. Every month I hear from clients who have joined us over the years from our radio campaign right here on AM 560. From Indiana, I got a note saying, Tom, you're right. Working with you is like watching Andy Griffith in high definition. Great technology and old-fashioned customer service. Or right here in Northern Illinois. Tom, had I known it would have been this easy to switch over, I would have done it years ago. Or this one I just received yesterday. Tom, honey, dinner was great, thanks. Love you, Mom and Dad. Okay, sorry, wrong letter. Bottom line, give us a try. You can't go wrong. Real people, real service, real value. Call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. Or on the web at precisionpayroll.com. Precisionpayroll.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, who wants to get into the marijuana business? We'll explain.
And Muslim children in a Philadelphia school sing about beheading Israelis at 6:06.
But first, here real quick is Mike Scott.
Gray skies and rain showers. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
A military message to Iran. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group and a bomber task force are being sent to the Middle East.
The president's national security advisor, John Bolton, says there has been escalating and troubling indications that either Iran or its proxies were preparing for some kind of attack, either against the U.S. or its allies. In response, the U.S. is sending the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group and a bomber task force to the Middle East to, as John Bolton put it, send a clear and unmistakable message to the Iranian regime that any attack on the United States' interest or on those of our allies will be met with unrelenting force.
That's Fox's Garrett Tenney. With a Chinese delegation due in Washington Wednesday for trade talks, President Trump on Twitter is threatening to impose 25% tariffs on more imports from China starting Friday. That threat is helping to drive down stock markets overseas. Dow futures are down 491 points ahead of the start of the trading day here. House Democrats have set a deadline of 2 hours from now for access to material blacked out in the special counsel Russian election meddling report. In D.C., Fox's Rachel Sutherland.
Chris, they're threatening to hold Attorney General William Barr in contempt if they're not allowed to review the report in a secure location.
So we can continue to do our work, conduct oversight in a responsible and sober way.
Democratic Congressman David Cicilline told Fox News Sunday a tentative date of May 15th has been set for special counsel Robert Mueller to come testify. Republican Senator John Kennedy told NBC's Meet the Press it's time for Democrats to move on.
The Mueller report was kind of like a hair on their biscuit, and now they don't know what to do.
President Trump doesn't want Mueller to testify, tweeting Sunday, no redos for Dems. Chris?
Rachel, the bodies of 41 people killed and the black boxes have been recovered from the wreckage of a plane that caught fire during an emergency landing in Moscow yesterday. The cause of that crash is under investigation. This is Fox News.
Skies are gray and there could be rain showers on the way for the afternoon. 57 right now at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The death toll of last week's massive explosion at A&B Specialty Silicones factory in Waukegan is now at 3. Crews found the bodies of 2 workers in the rubble of the building over the weekend.
Watching TV downstairs and heard the windows shake in the house and asked my wife, did you feel that too?
That employee lives nearby. One employee is still missing in that rubble. Federal judge will announce her sentence for a 25-year-old arrested in a 2012 FBI terrorism sting after trying to ignite what he thought was a real car bomb outside of a Chicago bar. The judge's sentence today for Adel Daoud follows a hearing last week. Prosecutors want a 40-year prison term. There's a newly formed jury in the Kirk Zimmerman trial in Bloomington after a juror was dismissed for violating court rules. A woman removed Friday before lunch after admitting she had read a media story on the case earlier in the week. Jurors were forced to begin deliberations again with an alternate before going home for the weekend. Chicago's iconic Buckingham Fountain is back on for the season. Famous fountain was turned on yesterday as part of the summer celebration. It will go back into hiatus in mid-October. Chris Bryant's fourth career Grand Slam helped the Cubs over the Cardinals 13-5 at Wrigley Field. Xander Bogaerts had a Grand Slam in the 7-run eighth inning as the Red Sox beat the White Sox 9-2 on the South Side.
That play was just an ugly play altogether. Started by a great one by Nicky getting it in. And then, we thought, okay, great. We kept them to a single and they kind of, spiraled out of control, and which led to that big inning there.
Skipper Ricky Renneria. First place Cubs have leapfrogged St. Louis in the NL Central. They begin a 4-game homeset with the Marlins tonight, while the White Sox are on the road to begin a 4-game set with the Indians. The News is a service of Express Services Incorporated. You work hard, you know what it takes to succeed. Now it's time to put your experience to work and launch your business. For a limited time, Express Employment Professionals will give you $25,000 to open your franchise. Get to know Express. Visit expressfranchising.com today. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Do you own or run a thriving business in the Chicagoland area? Have you overcome obstacles to make your business what it is today? If that's your business, then AM 560 wants to tell your story on the AM 560 Business Tour, presented by Signature Bank. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson will be broadcasting live from businesses all around Chicagoland, telling success stories of thriving, successful businesses. Hey, if that's you, tell us about it. Visit 560theanswer.com/business and submit your information. That's 560theanswer.com/business.
Guardians of the Grass, run with us on a John Deere X300 Select Series lawn tractor built for versatility. Because when you take pride in your lawn, you do it all. You mulch, bag, haul, grow, mow, and a whole lot more. And that's why the X300 Series takes care of everything with attachments for all your spring and summer projects. Because you're not just doing yard work, you're creating common ground for the whole neighborhood to enjoy. Nothing runs like a Deere. Run with us. Search John Deere X300 for more.
At Dell, we know running a small business takes hard work. As a thank you, for all of Small Business Month, we're offering up to 45% off select computers with Intel Core processors. Plus, get additional savings when you call a Dell Small Business Technology Advisor. Call 877-BUY-DELL today. That's 877-BUY-DELL. Additional savings valid May 6th through 30th at 8 a.m. Eastern on select computers from customer calls Dell. Excludes Dell Canvas, PowerEdge T30, and select order codes.
It's Health Quest Radio, Chicagoland's longest-running health, news, and science show with your host, Dr. David Kolbaba.
You know, people who age slower live longer. It's our dirt cheap age analysis assessment. We can compare your biologic age with your chronologic age to determine how fast you're aging. Just a few seconds to safely scan for those advanced glycation end products that cause premature aging. And I'll pay for your first assessment. That's right, your first one is free. Then we'll give you a few things to do and retest in 60 days. It's our dirt cheap age analysis assessment. But you gotta call our Health Quest radio hotline at 800-794-18 1355. That's 800-794-1855. First one free if you make that call right now. Some conditions and restrictions do apply. It's our dirt cheap age analysis assessment. Call 800-794-1855. It's HealthQuest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11.
With more than 6,000 hotels across the country, including La Quinta, Days Inn, and Super 8, a great hotel by Wyndham is closer than you think. Find one near you and book direct at wyndhamhotels.com.
6:07 and a check on the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim.
Traffic's a little bit heavy now on the eastbound Eden Spur from the toll plaza to Waukegan Road due to ongoing construction. The Eden itself is still delay-free. Kennedy inbound traffic slow Cumberland to Central. 25 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 32, it's heavy from Montrose to 190. Those delays continue on westbound 190 from the Kennedy to Manheim. Gun Eisenhower. Scattered delays start at Manheim. 36 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 31. Stevenson inbound at Pulaski. There's a reported crash. We're looking at 50 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 16 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 424. That's traffic. I'm Jim Calamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and meteorologist Steve Williams.
Today, mostly cloudy with a couple of showers, the high 66. Clouds and showers tonight, low 42. A morning shower tomorrow, then breezy, clouds and sun, high 53. A thunderstorm on Wednesday morning, the high Wednesday 54. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
57 at O'Hare, 55 along the lakefront. Next news at 6:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Well, there's a truce for now. Truce after violence in Gaza and southern Israel that reportedly Israeli strikes killing 19 Palestinians and more than 600 rockets that were launched by Palestinians, more than 150 of them intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome anti-missile system, killed, I believe the number was 4 Israelis, but I could be corrected on that. But anyway, significant violence in Gaza and southern Israel that there's now been at least a temporary truce established. And of course, this is the occasion for Ilhan Omar to weigh in again, which...
Oh, no.
Anything she says, I want to hear.
And how did she handle this one?
With her normal aplomb. How many protesters must be shot, rockets must be fired, and little kids must be killed until the endless cycle of violence ends? The status quo of occupation and humanitarian crisis in Gaza is unsustainable. Only real justice can bring about security and lasting peace. That was her tweet last night. So you had 600 rockets fired by terrorists into southern Israel, at least 4 Israelis killed, and then Israel counterstrikes. And, of course, her position is in defense of Palestinians and in opposition to, well, Israel's response, but also just Israel's right to exist, which is really her position as far as I can tell.
I mean, what is Israel supposed to do? Hamas fired 700 rockets their way. Nikki Haley had a great tweet. She said, She said, if this was any other country, the international community would raise havoc. No other country would sit back and take this. Then why should Israel?
And so what's going on, I mean, you know how awful the D.C. press corps is, how anti-Israel they are. It's remarkable, in point of fact, particularly with the number of Jewish op-ed contributors at places like the New York Times, that they would run the cartoon that they ran last week.
It's disgusting.
It's remarkable what you hear from Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and AOC, considering that routinely in presidential elections, 70% of Jewish American voters vote for the Democrat. Remarkable that they stay tethered to this party, but they do, and that's their right.
Well, Tlaib she tweeted, "When will the world stop dehumanizing our Palestinian people who just want to be free?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little history lesson that was offered by Jason Hill in the Federalist. Jason Hill is a philosophy professor at DePaul. We had him on the show recently because this op-ed generated all kinds of response on campus. Responses like Jason Hill should be terminated, his tenure revoked, he should be dismissed. There was a move to censure him by some of the Marxist professors at DePaul, the anti-Catholic Catholic University, one of many. They settled on a condemnation. They didn't go so far as a censure. They did a condemnation resolution. Here's one of the points that Hill makes that's important, just a little bit of history lesson, because the history is always lost in this, particularly when you have the voices and opinions of the ignorant being amplified. We've mentioned a few of them, Tlaib, Omar. Hill points out the fact that Israel made an altruistic mistake after the 1967 defensive war with Jordan. Rather than regard them as war settlers or refugees, or after illegally occupying conquered territory as illegal occupants, they made the Palestinian people their political and moral problem. They could have been seen them as enemies of the state, supporters of the PLO charter, which basically calls for the end of Jewry in the region. Yeah, exactly. They would have been regarded and treated as such, but that's not how Israel treated them. They treated the Palestinians as human beings with specific inalienable rights. Under a different set of political sensibilities, writes Hill, the Palestinian people would have been militarily removed from the area because, morally speaking, after the 1967 war, they never belonged there. The proper response from Israel should have been to immediately annex the land and make the people there the responsibility of their original political homeland, Jordan. He goes on to, of course, document the ignominious record of the Palestinian Authority since its formation in 1994. All of this is lost in the entire discussion. But what shouldn't be lost, and even if you don't know the history, well, maybe you're not particularly interested, I don't know. But even if you aren't, what shouldn't be lost is the virulent anti-Semitism that reeks off of these people. The Omars, the Tlaibs, the Cortezes. Was the intersection of ignorance and hate? I mean, you can find them all there. And you can find it on college campuses, too. And I'm not just talking about DePaul and Jason Hill's treatment. We mentioned this before. NYU closed its Bronfman Center for Jewish Student Life for a time after an NYU student expressed his desire for Zionists to die. The response from the administration? They honored the Students for Justice in Palestine, which has these chapters on campuses around the country. It's essentially the campus arm of the BDS movement, the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions movement. They honored them with a President's Service Award for having positively impacted the culture of this institution and members of the community, quote unquote. Happening all on campuses across the country. Ziva Idal, who is with the Chaim Solomon Center, writing at The Spectator, also references a conference in March. The University of North Carolina and Duke organized a 3-day symposium at the Carolina campus titled Conflict Over Gaza. Far from presenting a balanced perspective, the forum was a racist spewing of anti-Semitic rhetoric demonizing Israel, whitewashing Hamas and its so-called March for Return, and dismissing Israel's security concerns as another way to dehumanize Palestinians, quote unquote. I mean, it is so over the top from the left because the Palestinians is part of their solidarity and marginality play, political play. Never forget that. The animating principle of the cultural Marxist left, solidarity and marginality. The quality of the cause is not relevant. Only that they can be cast as marginalized, as afflicted, and thus used as tools of propaganda to generate an emotional response from enough ignorant people to elect cultural Marxists. That's the formula. It's not that complicated. So I wonder what award these students in Philadelphia will get. Gateway Pundit had this one. Video that was released Friday, taken from a Facebook posting by the Muslim American Society Philadelphia chapter, shows a group of Muslim children in Palestinian scarves performing a celebration where they sang a pro-Palestinian song and recited a poem calling for the liberation of Jerusalem and saying, quote, "We will chop off their heads and we will liberate the sorrowful and exalted Al-Aqsa Mosque. We will subject them to eternal torture." Oh, kids in Philadelphia.
Is their Facebook been taken down?
MAS Philly.
Violent content.
Right, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You're going to be policing what people are doing. That would be a good time to jump in there.
MAS, Muslim American Society. MAS Philly belongs to the Muslim American Society, which has 42 chapters in the United States and one in the UK. Its mission, they say, is to move people to strive for God consciousness, liberty, and justice, and convey Islam with utmost charity. I wonder what our friend Zuhdi Jasser from the Islamic American Forum for Democracy would say about that.
Have you seen the video? It's really disturbing.
Yeah, you have little kids chanting, "Chop off their heads."
Yeah, and pledging their allegiance, to the army of Allah.
Greg in Lakeview.
Yes, hi, Dan and Amy. I love the show and listen to you guys often. I just want to say, Dan, you're such a word nerd, which I love. I am too.
Word nerd.
But word nerd. He's a word lover. But everyone mispronounces this congresswoman's last name. It's Tlaib, not Talib.
Tlaib?
Oh, yes. Okay.
It's like the TL in Butler, or dare I say it,
All right,
Hitler.
Say it again.
It's Tlaib.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to go with my bastardization of it, Greg. But thanks for the call. I appreciate it. You know what I mean?
No, it's Tlaib. Well, I'm the name assassinator around here. Okay?
Yeah, you have enough problem with sort of rudimentary
Smith.
English names. Brian in Oak Forest.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Going along the lines of what you're talking about with what they're chanting in Philadelphia, I read recently that the Philadelphia airport is allowing a makeshift mosque in one of their parking lots. So never forget, America. Never forget.
Thanks for the call, Brian. This is the lyrics to the song these kids are chanting.
It'll be translated.
GatewayPundit.com has got it, and you see the pictures of the kids. There's a little video too.
It's like putting on a Christmas pageant or something, but it's not. It's a pageant of hate.
They're singing in Arabic, so it makes no sense to play. But it's translated for you there. Our Palestine must return to us, and with help of the omnipotent Lord, day will follow night. We will chop off their heads. We will liberate the sorrowful and exalted Al-Aqsa Mosque. We will lead the army of Allah, fulfilling His promise. Mm-hmm.
Well, something's got to be done, right? I mean, won't some strong member of the Muslim community come forward and talk to these kids or something?
I'm sure they will, and I'm sure you'll hear from other Muslim voices as we do on this show. But the takeaway of the willful blindness to this kind of rhetoric, and also the inculcation of children with this kind of hate.
The indoctrination.
You think, right? We think people are just making this stuff up. Well, where do you think it comes from then?
What about, hate has no home here, people? Shouldn't they start inserting themselves? Maybe put up a little sign in Arabic in front of their place.
Yeah, we'll wait for that.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one. Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson. Spring is the perfect time to take notice of any paint issues. Call the professionals at CertaPro Painters right away to take care of your home. Our front porch and back porches were chipping and peeling, just an eyesore. But CertaPro Painters swooped in and made a huge difference. They also painted a majority of our rooms in our house, the quality, service, and attention to detail like no other paint company. You know, spring is the season of change. Time to change your wall color or exterior and transform your home with an updated new look. And if you want some help with colors, they've got you covered with in-home color consultation or online with a color visualizer. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting expert. Schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life. One of the most frustrating aspects of running a business today is dealing with technology. Oh, yeah, it's wonderful when it's all working, but what about when it's not? IT, networks, computers. Yuck, you just want to run your business. And hiring an IT department is out of the question. Or is it? Consider this. For only $795 a month, you can eliminate the hassle of IT and computer issues, with Turnkey IT. It will be like having your own in-house IT department, but better. Turnkey makes it happen. They make it secure and they make it smart. You'll be set up for success and not have to deal with all the technical issues that can overwhelm a business. Turnkey becomes your IT department, and they'll help with all your daily IT issues, plus set you up with preventative steps to keep your business going. Have Turnkey do a complimentary network audit of your systems, even if you do have a current IT company, so you know where you stand with technology. Hey, leave the technical stuff to the pros so you can focus on the important things. Turnkey.pro.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
Do you have a family? Would you like to help make sure they'll be taken care of if anything were to happen to you? If you answered yes, you probably need life insurance. Now, do you think life insurance is expensive? If you answered yes to that too, you definitely need to give AIG Direct a call. We could find you a $250,000 policy for just $14 a month, which means you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Call us now for a free, no-obligation quote. 1-800-700-1368. Since 1995, we've helped millions of people find out if they could save up to 70% on their term life insurance. See how affordably we can help you protect your family. Call AIG Direct now for your free quote. 1-800-700-1368. You could save up to 70%. That's 1-800-700-1368. 1-800-700-1368.
AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. You mentioned it, Amy, sort of alluded to it. What about the Facebook banishment of extremists, everyone from conspiracy theorist Alex Jones to, well, since we were on the topic, abhorrent anti-Semite Louis Farrakhan? What about the Facebook ban? David French writes in National Review that it warrants some concern, not because Alex Jones and Louis Farrakhan and others banned aren't loathsome, but because he argues Facebook speech rules are vague and malleable, and you can abide the so-called Facebook standards and still potentially face banishment.
Well, what are the Facebook standards? I mean, you have this group of Muslim children saying, "Off with your heads," to Americans, basically, and their content is still on Facebook and still on Twitter. It's different rules for different people.
312-642-5600, Turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, Turnkey.pro text line. Now, again, here, we're not talking about government, so there is no First Amendment right to access Facebook's platform and say what you want, uncensored, or, limited only by Supreme Court precedent. That's not the case with Facebook. But do you worry about the idea of people piling on to who should be banned and who shouldn't based on popularity, right? because you want to be consistent with First Amendment principles, and you like companies to be consistent as consistent as they can with First Amendment principles. So the idea that you protect voices that are unpopular, not popular. It's easy to protect the popular voices.
Right.
It's more difficult to protect the unpopular voices, and by doing so, then that's how you have robust debate. Everybody gets exposed to a lot of ideas, and ostensibly the most persuasive and hopefully substantive ideas carry the day. Not always the case, clearly, but that's how a free society works, and you would hope that companies that have these platforms and where you're the product, building community around media, which is what social media is, and all media really, that they would act in furtherance of that, right?
Well, how do you feel about the Facebook bans of these 7 users? I mean, one's Milo.
I think,
and then Farrakhan and Alex Jones.
Yeah, I mean, it's less getting into the individuals that were so publicly exiled, and more what French writes about. The potential for abuse is obvious, he writes, as is the potential chilling effect even on those who engage in good faith debate on hot-button topics when their point of view runs contrary to the company's ideological ethos. Debates about abortion, race, religion, religious liberty, and so on come to mind, and we have abundant evidence that progressive definers of hate, quote-unquote, often suffer from grotesque bias and internal corruption. Yet at the same time, Facebook has a very real and direct interest in making sure that its user experience is not so dreadful that its users flee. And so maybe if they err too much on the side of the speech codes of the left, then you will, and they'll suffer in the marketplace as a result. Mike, on the north side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. Welcome back, Amy.
Thanks.
Glad to have you back from your Ramadan break. Assalamu alaikum to you. And Dan, salami wrapped in bacon to you.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, listen, I'm not a expert on Middle East peace process.
Okay, Ocasio-Cortez, yes.
Okay. But I do seem to remember a group called the Israelites banging down the walls of Jericho 4,000 years ago. So I don't think they're occupiers. I think they've been there on and off for a while, forced out through no fault of their own. And if going to some other land makes you an occupier, shouldn't this Ilmar Omar, or whatever her name is, from Minnesota, go back to where she came from because she's occupying the Twin Cities?
Well, all right. Thanks for the call, Mike. She's from Somalia. There is a question about if she fraudulently emigrated to this country, but there's much more interesting questions about her views about Americans in Mogadishu, about Venezuelan dictators starving their countrymen, about terrorists in the Middle East, about terrorists who committed the horrors of 9/11. There's a lot of questions about what Omar has to say.
Oh, that thing that happened?
Omar on the north side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. This is Dr. Omar. I would like to say, I am against violence, but also I am with justice. I am a refugee Palestinian, American, and I don't have the right to go back to occupied Palestine, to the Holy Land, but any Jewish in the world has the right to go back to the Holy Land, to Israel. So is that fair?
Thanks for the call, Dr. Omar. Appreciate it. We'll have to pick that up after the news with Mike Scott.
Skies are gray. We have 55 degrees in Chicago at 6:31 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Japanese media reporting that President Trump and Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe will talk about the weapons North Korea fired over the weekend by phone. President Trump's former longtime personal attorney and fixer goes to prison today. Michael Cohen will begin serving a 3-year sentence. Colorado Senator Michael Bennet says President Trump may have committed impeachable offenses, but he will not call for impeachment proceedings.
It seems fairly clear from the evidence that he has committed impeachable offenses.
However, Bennett, a 2020 Democrat presidential candidate, said last night to NBC there should be a process before any actions are considered against the president. The U.S. is sending a carrier strike group and bombers to the Middle East in a show of force to Iran. The move comes after a series of rocket strikes against Israel by forces in the Gaza Strip that are allied with Iran. The death toll of last week's massive explosion at A&B Specialty Silicones factory in Waukegan is now 3. The cause of that explosion is still under investigation. Authorities continue their probe after a man was struck and killed by an SUV on the Dan Ryan Expressway near 69th Street. Police say an SUV hit Jovan Towers Jr. early yesterday, but Towers was lying down in the far right-hand lane. The driver has not been charged with a crime. Prison guards who can get to work right away can pocket an extra $4,000 from the federal government. The Thompson prison is offering signing bonuses for guards who can start by September 1st. Cubs beat the Cardinals 13-5 at Wrigley in a weekend sweep. Red Sox over the White Sox 9-2 on the south side. The news service of Wyndham Hotels and Resorts. With more than 6,000 hotels across the country, including La Quinta, Days Inn, and Super 8, a great hotel by Wyndham is closer than you think. Find one near you and book direct at wyndhamhotels.com. 6:33 is our time, and we'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher says Joe Biden must not be reading the news.
Everybody knows how great the economy is doing. You can't pretend it's not. People are actually taking home more money. It's the last thing. You'd go after anything but the economy, right? If you're Joe Biden, you'd go after anything but the economy.
The middle class is hurting. It's hurting now.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
When it's cold outside, you can dress for it. But when your furnace gives out, hey, a blanket fort can only do so much. So call your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. We'll replace your old furnace with a new high-efficiency one. And that beats a bunch of blankets any day. Right now, cozy up to big savings on a complete heating system. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Mother's Day is next Sunday, and ProFlowers is offering an amazing special. 1 dozen assorted roses for $19.99. Plus, get double the roses with a premium vase for just $9.99 more. Pick your delivery date and send Mom a dozen assorted roses for just $19.99, or double the roses and get a premium glass vase for $9.99 more. To get this amazing deal, hurry to proflowers.com. Click on the microphone in the upper right corner and enter the secret code 5757. Proflowers.com, code 5757.
Hi, this is Dr. Mike Andriano of Trinity Holistic Health Center. We live in interesting times. The world seems to make less sense every year. More adults and children struggle with anxiety and sleep issues. Over the past couple of years, more than half of the clients coming into my office report poor sleep or problems with anxiety. Those who suffer with these issues know that they impact every aspect of their life and seem like torture. Both issues are signs of deeper health problems. Inflammation drives a process that causes anxiety and poor sleep. Anti-inflammatory diets, herbs, and even medications don't address the root cause of inflammation, but we do. My practice at Trinity Holistic Health Center concentrates on finding and fixing the root cause of your health problem, not just covering up the symptoms.
If this sounds like you, go to lifedoc.am or call 1-833-LIFE-DOC and learn how you can get help to end your anxiety and get a restful night's sleep once and for all. That's lifedoc.am or call 1-833-LIFE-DOC.
It is 6:36, and that means it's time to check the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Telemonti.
Northbound I-55 traffic is heavy. Delays from 126 to Weber, and it's jammed Harlem to Pulaski with a crash on the left shoulder. 55 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 35. Ryan, it's 23 minutes from 95th to downtown. I-57, 18 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop 422. Eden runs 22 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 20. Kennedy, 28 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound, it's 40. Plus, we see delays on westbound 190 going into O'Hare. Eisenhower, 42 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 33. Northbound Tri-State traffic's heavy from the Reagan Tollway to past the Eisenhower. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte. On AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Cloudy, couple of showers. Not as warm this afternoon, a high of 66. Currently 57. Next news coming up at 7, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
They got the beat, the campus beat, the campus beat. Yeah, the campus beat.
Dan and Amy, and in this edition of Campus Beat, we've got a little problem at Virginia Tech, the Hokies. We've got a penis bandit.
Excuse me, Dad. A penis bandit?
Yeah. Which
is that really what they're calling?
Penis bandit, which was also...
Is there an APB out on the penis bandit there now?
That was the name of my college band. It was a George Michael tribute band.
Oh, that's right. You guys performed at a lot of places. Didn't you get a little gig at Rib Fest, I believe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
on the side stage. Yeah.
Yeah. We took the house down with Faith, as I recall. A torrent of penis drawings in different locations across the Virginia Tech campus last fall has drawn other bias complaints from students.
Now, if I Google this on the computer, I can get in trouble, but here I go. Okay.
Administrators are grappling with how to handle the penis bandit.
Well, don't they have surveillance cameras everywhere that they could see, excuse me, the person doing this?
It's a hard case.
Hey-o.
A total of 45 reports filed with the university in the fall 2018. 5 complained about penis drawings, and well, yes, I can't even read what the other one was that was on topic. So you have sort of your Banksy of of the male appendage on campus there at Virginia Tech. But
this is a real problem.
Well, sure it is. Yeah. After the penis bandit struck in August, 2 female students followed up several times at the university to make sure students felt safe about the whiteboard situation, and because that's where the penis drawings were.
Oh, on the whiteboard?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You got to keep an eye out for the in September, 2 other female students found someone had drawn a picture of penises on the whiteboard affixed outside their door. So he struck again.
I see what you're saying.
Not prematurely.
Uh-huh.
The interesting thing about this, too, I mean, there's so much that's interesting, but the collegefix.com, which has the story, points out these other bias reports that were filed by students, and it gives you like a real indication.
Bias report?
Yeah, it gives you a real indication of what's happening at college campus, the mindset. So interesting. Bias reports for these diversity officer, administrative judges, minders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Other reports filed, not related to the penis bandit. A student was offended when another student created a meme suggesting heterosexual people have poor taste in interior design.
That's so mean.
You filed a report, a bias report.
That's just a waste of time.
A white student asked an African-American student if he could rap, which the black student saw as racial bias. A report filed for an investigation. After a midnight snowball fight, a group of young men were found to be discussing how on athletics some of the female students throwing snowballs at them were.
Where do you think you throw like a girl came from somewhere?
That's a bias report. You
it's
just made
true.
the list. You just made the report.
Come on, are you going to file a report now?
When a male
Debbie comes in at 7:30.
When a male student told a female student that the Reagan Bush 84 T-shirt he was wearing was not sarcastic, she yelled "F you" at him. The reporting student, in this case, though, perhaps a bit tongue-in-cheek, I would say, suggested this was slander against his gender expression, gender identity, race, religion, ethnic origin, and color. So at least one student at Virginia Tech is in on the joke. He gets it.
Right.
But it's so interesting, the other bias reports that the penis bandit has brought to our attention, because he's really given us insight into what's happening on campus.
Well,
is
I
my
mean,
only
what
point.
was this whiteboard? I mean, somebody also one time wrote Saudi Arabia, and they filed a report because that was written on the whiteboard. Just that, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, kids.
You got to be careful what you write on the whiteboard, or you could get the shaft.
Hey, I still can't believe they can't find this guy after 45 incidents. I mean, they found the pooperintendent eventually, that superintendent who was pooping on the, on a high school track.
Yes, I'm familiar with this
Well,
work.
then they should be able to find the penis bandit.
He's elusive.
Well, he is. They said he was wearing a hoodie, so they can't. Oh, okay, no, so they can't really get details of his face.
I'm not sure that he lives in the dorms either. The word of the campus of Virginia Tech is that maybe he pitched a tent. And
living on the mall. Hmm?
Frank in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, first off, I'm offended you guys are using the he pronoun. How do you know it's a he? Maybe identified as a woman at the time.
Great
And
question.
also to make
Great
it
point.
equal, to make it equal under Title IX, all you have to do is draw a bunch of vaginas around and call it even.
Oh my God.
Thanks, Frank. Yes. John in Wheeling.
So they need to watch to catch the penis bandit. They need to watch the first season of American Vandal because that's what it was about. Maybe they can get some clues or some techniques to find the person.
How was the penis bandit and American Vandal caught? I'm sorry, I missed that season.
It was very complicated. I mean,
Sure.
There's a lot of clues, but I mean, the forensics that they used was very interesting, and maybe they can use some of the techniques. You never know.
All right, thanks for the call, John. We'll pass it along to the officials at VTech. I mean, right, these penis bandits tend to be rather cagey, elusive.
Come on.
Sometimes flaccid. A related story, this is important case.
Just say
Important case that was adjudicated last week we didn't get to. And this is actually a little bit more serious, but we're not ready for serious.
No, we're not.
Mike, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, you got to admit, whoever's doing the drawings is pretty confident and cocksure about their abilities.
Yeah, they're definitely cocksure. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. All right. Very good. Finally, somebody's playing
Well, I
along.
mean, I know, but come on. Just don't get offended. Just erase it and move on with your day.
Right.
I mean,
after you file a
is
bias
this-
report.
Is this a microaggression?
Amy and Huntley, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Hey, Dan, I think you need to admit that you only did this story because you wanted to make these stupid jokes.
Possibly. It's possible.
Possibly not. Maybe this is a real problem, maybe.
Thanks for the call, Amy. I mean, this made this 5 of the 45 bias reports at Virginia Tech were about the penis bandit. So I would say, that's, you know what, with the penis, I mean, it's significant is my point. And you know how it is with penis bandits. You give them an inch.
And they'll take a foot. Ayo!
Female track athletes with naturally elevated levels of testosterone must decrease the hormone to participate in certain races and major competitions like the Olympics.
Okay.
This Castor Semenya, who's a 2-time Olympic champion at the 800 meters competition, that race, she's from South Africa. She had challenged proposed limits on the female athletes with naturally elevated levels of testosterone because she has a naturally elevated level of testosterone. And this isn't just about her, obviously. This is about, well, wait a second. If
they're going to make her lower her levels, what about the men?
Who are pretending to be women to
Women,
participate
right.
in women's competitions, precisely.
Because their testosterone levels are really high compared to hers.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just wanted to direct people to that case because it's important, particularly, if you have girls in sports, that maybe there's a few people that are sane left and maybe your daughters will be able to participate in sports without having to compete against men.
But back to the penis bandit.
Of course, yeah. It's the big story.
Excuse me. Line 1.
Pete in Montgomery, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, it's obviously this is a recruitment technique by South Carolina Trojans.
Oh.
Thanks for the call, Pete.
Are the Gamecocks?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He was.
Well, that's the
what I thought.
nickname. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they are.
Right, that's their nickname.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that is, but
true.
It's like I'm still trying to figure out who Herky the Hawkeye is. Chicken cluck.
What? Ralph and Rantoul, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Is it possible that there's more than one penis bandit, and perhaps that they're jealous of each other?
I think the term is envious.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call, Ralph.
Penis envy.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
By the way, just as an aside, if we could stop with your juvenile humor,
you know what?
and get to the serious story I've tried to.
Okay. What about
address.
testosterone levels?
In female athletes? Yeah.
Yes, please. It's a pressing issue.
I just wanted to make reference to this interview of Paul McHugh, former head of psychiatry at Johns Hopkins. He did the Wall Street Journal Sunday interview, and it's very good about this whole trans fad and the last frontier. After you destroy marriage, you eliminate gender. McHugh was the psychiatrist at when he was professor and head of the department at Johns Hopkins, who essentially made the decision for Johns Hopkins to stop doing gender reassignment surgery because the patient outcomes were bad. And, he takes his Hippocratic Oath seriously to first do no harm. But he goes into the details. He's 87 years old now, goes into the details of the thinking at the time and then, how what we have all witnessed evolved and what to do about it. It's just an interview we're checking out. Jake in Waukegan, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
They obviously need to get some better sketch artists down there to get the word out on this, or they need to put some hidden cameras and some zippers and get this thing caught.
Yeah. Good thinking.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. U.S.-China trade talks resumed this week. Economic reports out this week as well. And German authorities have broken up a criminal trafficking platform. Those stories next.
Have you ever seen a pest controller spraying chemicals in your home? It makes you wonder, if their chemicals are safe, then why do they suit up and wear respirators only to leave you to walk back in unprotected? G'day, I'm Scott from Plug-in Pest Free, and I'm here to tell you there's a better way. In an age where we now have the choice to drive electric cars, you too can electronically rid your home or business of unwanted rodents and pests. The answer is Plug-in Pest Free. 100% chemical-free, Plug-in Pest Free is your safest bet for your family and pets. Our bestseller, the Plug-in Pest Free Pro, will cover up to 4,000 square feet. Now that's fair dinkum. So order yours today at gopestfree.com. Use promo code SAVE20 for 20% off plus free shipping and a 60-day money-back guarantee. That's gopestfree.com, promo code SAVE20. Don't spray and regret. Plug in and forget. Gopestfree.com today.
U.S.-China trade talks moved to Washington Wednesday. Topics include intellectual property theft, forced technology transfer, non-tariff barriers, and agriculture. Economic reports out this week include the latest on the trade deficit, the producer price index, and the consumer price index. Facebook is planning a cryptocurrency-based payment system for its users worldwide. The Wall Street Journal reports that system would use a digital coin similar to Bitcoin. With the help of American and Dutch authorities, German investigators say they've broken up one of the world's largest online criminal trafficking platforms. The platform offered cocaine, heroin, and other drugs. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 o'clock at 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Oh, it's coming. Another school year is about to wrap up, and you need to start thinking about what activities your son or daughter will be involved with during summer break. You want them to have fun this summer, but you also need structure and to be prepared, get prepared, I should say, for the next school year. So introduce them to St. John's Northwestern Experience in beautiful Lake County region of southeast Wisconsin with their summer OPS program, Opportunities for Personal Success. 5 intensive weeks of learning and training. Young men and women, grades 7 through 12, will get an opportunity to advance academically in a structured and supportive environment of a military boarding school, and at the same time be involved in an exciting summer adventure camp that really inspires personal growth through a commitment to excellence in academics, leadership skills, spiritual and character development, and athletics and wellness. Camp St. John's Northwestern for your son or daughter with full boarding or day camp programs. Get more information by calling them 800-SJ-CADET. That's 1-800-SJ-CADET. Or simply go online at sjnma.org. I sent Peyton and Eli there for a week of summer camp last year. They loved it. They're still talking about it. You should do it. You can check it out for yourself. Call for a free tour or just get more information at sjnma.org.
This is Dr. Howard, founder and formulator of Balance of Nature. We're changing America one life at a time.
It just makes my body feel like I can function. I'm not in as much pain, and I feel happy, and my skin is glowing. So what else can I say? What's better than your skin glowing? For a woman of almost 70 years old, what's better than your skin having that glow, that youthful glow?
From now until May 10th, receive a 15% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. And just in time for Mother's Day, receive an extra $10 off any additional set of fruits and veggies you purchase. This offer will end on May 10th, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
If you've been in business more than 20 minutes, you've probably printed your logo on all kinds of promotional products. We all know promotional products work because they're everywhere from sales meetings and corporate events to trade shows. Ever wondered why or how to best use promotional products to grow your business? Let us show you today for free. We're 4imprint, promotional product experts at your service. We're giving away an ebook called Promotional Products Work, absolutely free, to everyone who texts radio to 88988. At 4imprint, we make your logo look perfect on thousands of promotional items. With our 100% guarantee, it'll be right the first time, on time, every time. Your free ebook will reveal valuable insights that can attract new customers, build your brand, help your cause, or simply grow your business. Get the ebook Promotional Products Work absolutely free by texting radio to 88988. That's RADIO to 88988.
When you need to ship sensitive or large and heavy equipment, the DC Group in Elk Grove has the experience and expertise to handle the biggest and most complicated jobs. DC Export and Domestic Packing Inc. was founded in 1974 by the husband and wife team of Dominic and Carol Cacciamiglio. Beginning in a building not much bigger than a 4-car garage, the company now boasts 2 Chicago area facilities totaling 100,000 square feet, plus a 45,000 square foot FTZ warehouse in Greenville, South Carolina. Through these facilities and their long-standing agents, they offer nationwide packing, crating, container, and flat rack loading unloading, as well as warehousing, all with heavy lift capabilities. Other products available include custom-made boxes, crates, skids, and corrosion control solutions. DC Transport was founded in 1991 to meet the growing needs of their customers and provide transportation services throughout North America. From container drayage to super heavy haul loads, DC Transport can help you move just about anything. Go to dcexport.com for more info and to get in touch. dcexport.com.
The company began when Windows 95 was still singing Start Me Up and Novell servers were in vogue. Always learning since the day the doors opened and consistently finding technological solutions for those they serve. They've been through more iterations of operating systems than one would care to remember. Constantly changing and evolving to stay best in technological breed for decades. People serving people, and leaving technological footprints for nearly 25 years. They're not afraid of technology and embrace its ever-changing life cycle. They know IT, they live IT, and they want to be your information technology partner. From help desk to Office 365 to desktop support and cloud solutions, they've got you covered. Turnkey IT, to make your company better, stronger, and ready to compete and win. Turnkey.pro.
AM 560, The Answer.
Getting a lot of interest in the Penis Bandit story, not surprising. Text from 219. Maybe they should have wrecked the billboard. The hotline number.
Oh, that's right.
Hotline number's a good idea, sure. Mark in Plainfield, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I think I could tie both these topics together. I think the penis bandit would be the perfect solution to high testosterone in female athletes.
Okay. Thanks for the call, Mark. I'm going to have to graph that. I'm not exactly sure what the connection is. Here's another story of interest. Sink v. Sink. A pair of South Carolina plaintiffs' attorneys, father-son combo, both named George Sink. They used to work together. But George Sink Jr. left the firm in February to launch his own practice with a similar name, because they have the same one.
Right.
So dad sued son.
For the use of his name?
Yes.
Okay.
Saying it constituted trademark infringement, unfair competition, cyber squatting, unfair trade practice, and dilution. Wow.
What dilution?
Family dinners are going to be fun. Sink versus Sink. Maybe you could get for the movie, Dustin Hoffman and Justin Henry. Dustin Hoffman plays the elder Sink, and Justin Henry plays the younger Sink from Kramer versus Kramer.
Yeah, how would you? Yeah.
Or maybe even.
How do you see this case ending?
Badly.
For the mom.
Yes, for everybody in the crosshairs. Or Ryan O'Neal and Drew Barrymore could he be better? Because that was more of a reconcilable differences. Yeah. Remember, she divorces her parents.
Right.
I don't know if Sink will countersue for a formal divorce because I assume since he's a lawyer, he's probably of age. So that doesn't quite work.
Town's not big enough for both of us? Is that what's going on?
Yeah. George Sink PA Lawyers, registered trademark, PA Injury Lawyers, has been forced to bring suit to protect consumers of legal services. The mark exists to protect consumers from the confusion and misdirection caused by infringement. This lawsuit is intended to serve these consumer interests. I mean, you got to sometimes put consumer interests ahead of your son, as I've often said. George Sink and I are very much in agreement on that.
Oh, really? Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're going to pick up our discussion about Trump and Putin since they met and Trump opined on the topic on Friday, as well as the Facebook issue with Rich Lowry. He's the editor of National Review, and he will join us at 7:07.
And later, what do you think of Biden's new campaign slogan and his new nickname for President Trump? We'll discuss. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Find out what's happening here at home and around the world. Here is Mike Scott.
For the moment, skies are clearing. We'll have a full update on your weather forecast in just a moment. 3 are dead, 1 missing after a Waukegan factory explosion over the weekend. The search continues for a missing pregnant mail carrier. Thompson Prison is offering big signing bonus for Illinois prison guards. Illinois State Senate approves a paid sick time plan, but is there a plan underneath that plan? The Cubs sweep the Cardinals at Wrigley Field. There are showers in your forecast for this day. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Just a few more hours of freedom. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. Today is the day President Trump's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, is due to report to federal prison in Otisville, New York, to start his 3-year sentence for campaign finance violations, tax and bank fraud, and lying to Congress.
Last month, Cohen's attorneys failed in their bid to win congressional support to try to further delay his sentence after they said Cohen discovered a hard drive and documents that he wanted additional time to review. Forbes magazine has called the federal prison in Otisville one of America's 10 cushiest prisons. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
President Trump tweets, "Sorry, we're not going to be doing that anymore." He's referring to losing in trade deals with China. A trade delegation from China arrives in Washington Wednesday for negotiations. The president, though, is threatening to add tariffs to more Chinese products starting Friday. And that threat is contributing to a drop in worldwide stock markets. Dow futures are down 467 points ahead of the opening bell on Wall Street. A show of force aimed at Iran. Here's Fox's Rachel Sutherland in D.C.
Chris, a deployment of the USS Abraham Lincoln and a strike group of ships and combat aircraft comes as tensions continue to rise between the U.S. and Iran, citing a number of troubling and escalatory indications and warnings. National Security Advisor John Bolton said the U.S. wants to send a message to Iran that unrelenting force will meet any attack on U.S. interests or those of its allies. The Trump administration recently declared Iran's Revolutionary Guard a terrorist organization and clamped down on Tehran's oil exports. Iranian state TV says the mission does not seem to be genuine and appears to be a regularly scheduled deployment. Chris?
Rachel, the fighting appears to have stopped between the Israeli military and militants in Gaza. Hundreds of missiles and rockets landed on both sides over the weekend, killing a reported 23 people in Gaza and 4 in southern Israel. This is Fox News.
Skies are fair at the moment. We have 56 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The death toll of last week's massive explosion at the A&B Specialty Silicones factory in Waukegan is now at 3. Crews found the bodies of 2 workers in the rubble of that building over the weekend.
A massive explosion.
And one employee is still missing. Another victim identified as Alan Stevens died at a nearby hospital. The cause of that explosion remains under investigation. Federal judge will announce her sentence for a 25-year-old who was arrested in a 2012 FBI terror sting after trying to ignite what he thought was a real car bomb outside of a Chicago bar. Prosecutors want a 40-year prison term for Adel Daoud. Family and friends are still searching for a pregnant mail carrier who went missing last fall. A reward of more than $46,000 is being offered for information on the whereabouts of Kiara Coles, last seen on the South Side in October.
I just don't want my sister gone forever. And I wish and I hope that somebody out there or somebody that do know what's going on can help us give her a safe return.
Community activists are also raising awareness about 2 other missing Chicago women. Marlon Ochoa was pregnant when she disappeared last month, while Chanti Bryla has not been seen since she went missing on the South Side last March. Prison guards who can get to work right away can pocket an extra $4,000 from the federal government. Thompson Prison is offering signing bonuses for guards who can start by September 1st and work for at least a full year. Cubs beat the Cardinals 13-5 at Wrigley. Red Sox beat the White Sox 9-2. The news is a service of Express Services Incorporated. You work hard and know what it takes to succeed. Now it's time to put your experience to work and launch your business. For a limited time, Express Employment Professionals will give you $25,000 to open your franchise. Get to know Express. Visit expressfranchising.com today. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Guardians of the Grass, run with us on a John Deere X300 Select Series lawn tractor built for versatility. Because when you take pride in your lawn, you do it all. You mulch, bag, haul, grow, mow, and a whole lot more. And that's why the X300 Series takes care of everything with attachments for all your spring and summer projects. Because you're not just doing yard work, you're creating common ground for the whole neighborhood to enjoy. Nothing runs like a Deere. Run with us. Search John Deere X300 for more.
At Dell, we know running a small business takes hard work. As a thank you, for all of Small Business Month, we're offering up to 45% off select computers with Intel Core processors. Plus, get additional savings when you call a Dell Small Business Technology Advisor. Call 877-BUY-DELL today. That's 877-BUY-DELL. Additional savings valid May 6th through 30th at 8 a.m. Eastern on select computers when customer calls Dell. Excludes Dell Canvas, PowerEdge T30, and select order codes.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Chuck Spaveri, CEO of Spaveri's Custom Counters, a Chicagoland manufacturer of residential and commercial countertops. If there's a local commercial bank who knows how to get a deal done, it's Signature Bank. When my brother and I needed it, Signature Bank came through with a creative financing solution. That's because Signature Bank has experience working with companies like ours, a second-generation, family-owned and operated manufacturer. Our business matters to Signature Bank, and that comes through in every visit and every phone call with their team, right up to the bank's co-founders, Kevin, Mick, and Brian. Spaveri's is proud to bank with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
With more than 6,000 hotels across the country, including La Quinta, Days Inn, and Super 8, A great hotel by Wyndham is closer than you think. Find one near you and book direct at wyndhamhotels.com.
7:06. Let's get a check on the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Traffic is getting heavier on the northbound tri-state this morning with delays from 95th to the 83rd Street toll, from the Stevenson to 47th, and from Ogden to the Eisenhower. It's on Reagan Tollway. Slow traffic, 22nd to York Road. The Edens runs 22 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 21. Kennedy, 45 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 21 from Montrose, 17 on the Express. Outbound 54 minutes to the airport. The Eisenhower, now 51 minutes, 390 to downtown. 37 from Mannheim. Outbound 44 to 390. Northbound I-55, delays start at Weber, and it's 54 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 27 minutes from 95th. I-57, 18 minutes, I-80 to the merge, reaching 425. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Clouds and showers today, high 66. For tonight, it'll be cloudy with a few showers, low 42. A morning shower tomorrow, then breezy, high 53. Wednesday, clouds and breezy, rain and a thunderstorm in the morning, the high Wednesday 54. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
59 at O'Hare, 59 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella, Sunday mornings starting at 8.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. President Trump on Friday responding to reporters' questions about his sit-down with Vlad Putin. And, of course, the question top of mind for the D.C. press corps. Well, did you talk about the Mueller report? Did you talk about Russian meddling in 2016? Did you say, hey, don't meddle in our elections, leave us alone? How'd it go? Here's what Trump said on Friday.
He actually sort of smiled when he said something to the effect that it started off as a mountain and it ended up being a mouse.
Did you ask him not to meddle in the next election?
We didn't discuss that. Really, we didn't discuss it.
Started off as a mountain, ended up being a mouse. This may be one of those like Yakov Smirnoff Russian jokes I don't quite get. Mike Pompeo was asked about it when he appeared on Chris Wallace on Sunday. Here's that back and forth.
Why doesn't the president get tough with Putin about what everyone seems to agree is clear, meddling in 2016 and the threat of meddling in 2020?
Chris, this administration has been tougher on Russia than any of its predecessor administrations. I could go through the list, but there's not time in the show to talk about all the things we've done. Our largest defense buildup, our new, the list is long, Chris. And so for you to suggest that somehow we haven't taken election interference seriously, we do. We continue to work on it. We continue to make sure that every election is as safe as it can possibly be. The Department of Homeland Security, the intelligence agencies, all working to not only ensure that 2018 was successful, we were, and that 2020 will continue to be successful. We take seriously the threat of election interference from every country, Russia included.
But
more on this. Let's talk to our friend Rich Lowry. He's the editor-in-chief over at National Review, nationalreview.com. Also the author of the book Lincoln Unbound and a Fox News contributor. Rich, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, why doesn't President Trump just give the D.C. press corps what they want just one time? Said, yeah, I talked to him. I said, hey, knock it off, and we're going to have all of our resources assembled to make sure what you tried in 2016 doesn't happen in 2020, and just put it to bed.
I mean, it seemed very easy, and all he would have had to done is say it once at some point, and he could always revert to that, saying, look, I've already talked to him about it. But I think it just goes back to he thinks the Russia thing is the ultimate point of it is undermining the legitimacy of his election, so he's not going to give it any credit whatsoever. He doesn't want to hear about it. And I think that's wrong. Obviously, we shouldn't want any foreign power to interfere in any way in our election. But it's why he's never going to bring it up.
Speaking of colluding with the Russians, how about Bolshevik Bernie over there? This is a Washington Post going back in time to the late 80s where Bernie and Jane were over there in the Soviet Union having a good old time, attending very reasonably priced puppet shows. And they went back to interview 5 people who accompanied Sanders on the trip. And boy, what did they find? They found that
well, they like the chandeliers in the rail system, right?
There's no question about that. But the Bernie Sanders, I know it was a youthful indiscretion. He was at the tender age of 46 at the time.
That's right.
but he was criticizing America on foreign ground. I mean, this seems to be even a more aggressive than some of the Clinton issues that he had back in the day as a Rhodes Scholar.
Yeah, the least shocking story in the last couple of days is that Bernie Sanders was over in the Soviet Union criticizing the United States.
Yeah,
of course he was. And there's this myth that there was this great consensus during the Cold War against the Soviets, and there wasn't. I mean, the left was resisting every tough measure on the Soviet Union and thought they were unfairly beset by the United States. And if anyone believed that, it would have been Bernie Sanders. So not a shocker.
Other Democrat candidates running, I mean, I just for the comedy of it, and then we'll get back to seriousness. But John Hickenlooper, he's a former governor of Colorado, in case you forgot. He has an op-ed in Wall Street Journal over the weekend about how he's running to save capitalism. This is a guy who thinks GDP is an STD. But he's, I mean, he doesn't know what GDP stands for.
Really?
Yeah, he doesn't know what it stands for. Something. But here's the middle way, and maybe this is something Biden will adopt, somebody that may or may not have a chance. The deregulation of the Trump administration, that doesn't work, but the massive government growth, the GND, the socialism, that doesn't work either. There's a middle way of basically muddling along like we did during the Obama years is essentially what he's saying.
Yeah, the middle way is kind of socialism light. And this is the problem the Democrats are going to have, is just running against this economy, assuming it stays this good until next November. This thing is sizzling. And you finally have wages growing, and there's this great mystery for 10 years. Why aren't wages growing? All sorts of theories, like they're never going to grow again. And now they're growing, and it turns out all it took was a really tight labor market. And we need this to continue for as long as possible for working folks to be made as whole as possible. And I just don't know how you run on the country being in some horrible shape when that's just not the lived lives of very many people at the moment.
Well, how ugly do you think this election is going to be? I mean, if polls, stay where they are right now, Joe Biden would be the Democratic nominee. Already calling President Trump a clown. He's calling him Sleepy Joe. And Biden's got a new slogan, MAGA, Make America Moral Again. How does that ring with you?
It'll be,
so it's still
Mama.
Mama. What do you think?
I mean, it'll be extremely nasty. And, part of it, in fairness, is Trump is probably going to be running behind. At least the polls show he's behind everyone except for Elizabeth Warren. And he's probably not going to get to 50, and he needs to tear down his opponent. And they hate him with a passion. They think Hillary wasn't nasty enough. When actually she ran against Trump personally quite vigorously. It was just she didn't really have anything substantively say, especially not in those blue wall states. So yeah, it'll be another off the charts nasty slugfest.
There's some conventional wisdom that I'd like to challenge and see what your take is. One is that Biden is the most formidable opponent that Trump could face. I'm not so sure about that, in part because he says things like, of the Chinese, they're not bad folks, and they're also not competition for us, two things that are untrue. There's a reason why he was a footnote in the previous 2 times he ran, and the only reason he's relevant now is because he got to be Obama's ribbon cutter for 8 years. And the reason is he's not very good at this. He's a sort of nondescript senator for 20, 30 years from Delaware who hasn't really done anything important, can't kind of keep his notes straight unless he plagiarizes them from Neil Kinnock. And this guy just doesn't have that much going for him. I think Trump would love to run against him, particularly at the age of 77.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. The thing is, he's never had a 20-point lead at the outset of a race before. Now, look, we've seen people can blow that. Hillary blew it in 08 and nearly blew it in 16 and would have blown it without some institutional advantages.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think this thing will have twists and turns. And I kind of think, on paper, Biden is strong just because the Democrats, they can't be socialists. They got to avoid the extremes of some of these policy proposals. I think any of that would be a gift to Trump. And I think Biden's smart enough to realize that. And he's, as far as the rest of the field goes, is a reassuring figure, which I think is kind of important also. But I just think fresh face, that's really what America goes for. America always goes for turning the page, not restorations. So that's why I kind of think, even though the conventional wisdom is convinced Biden is the strongest, I said at various times I think Biden is the strongest. I'm not so sure. It might be someone who's fresh, new, and young. It's just Democrats have to consider who can best withstand the withering assault they're going to get from Trump, who can either stand up to him or kind of deftly sidestep that. And we haven't seen anyone in national politics who's demonstrated that yet, and they may be looking at Biden and say, well, maybe he's the guy who can stand toe-to-toe with him on a debate stage.
Maybe, but I got to tell you, I mean, particularly in these polarizing times, man, it's base plus. And if you're not turning out your base, you got a real problem with a reach to the middle. Biden reminds me that matchup reminds me a lot of Bill Clinton and Bob Dole in '96.
Yeah, so proof's in the pudding. So the electability is not just going to be the general election matchup polls. It's going to be how he performs on the trail. And if he underperforms, he's disappointing. Primary voters are going to notice it, and he's going to have a tough time. If he does seem like someone who can win, I think he has a really good chance of winning the nomination.
How important do you think his running mate is, or anyone's running mate in this election? I mean, if we have Mayor Pete with him, would that help? Because, then it'd be.
I don't think it ever really matters that much, but obviously, I mean, this is just doctrine in their party. If they nominate a white male, it's going to have to be a intersectional Veep pick. So a black woman or a gay man or whatever it is, but it can't be another white male. Not another straight white male, at least.
No, that's right. Cisgendered. Please use the proper terminology. Here's another piece of conventional wisdom, and this was promoted by Cory Booker in a recent interview, so you should be suspect of it. He and I don't know what kind of influence T-Bone had on this argument that he was making, but Cory Booker said, if we're talking about Trump, we're losing. I'm not so sure that's the case, particularly from Trump's perspective. I think, frankly, the more we're talking about Tlaib and Omar and AOC and Gillibrand's democracy dollars and every other the GND and every other goofy idea coming from the socialist left, that Trump is winning.
Yeah, well, that's a benefit to Trump. There's no doubt about it. The rise of AOC, Omar, who is just every 3 or 4 days says something just mind-bogglingly noxious. But I think Booker is kind of reflecting what they're hearing on the campaign trail, which is their voters are not obsessed with Russia. They're not obsessed with impeachment. I kind of wish they were more obsessed with impeachment because I think impeachment would backfire for them. Right. But the polling is sort of astonishing. You don't have a majority of Democrats in favor of impeachment in some of these states. So they're out there talking about the substance. Now the substance can kill them. If you're for Bernie's Medicare for All, which would knock 180 million people off their private insurance, that's a huge problem. And the polling says those are the top issues for Democrats: climate change and Medicare for all. But if I were a Democrat running, and the more moderate candidates in the field are doing this, like Buttigieg and Beto and Biden, if you say you're in favor of all those things, that you just don't get down to the extremism of Bernie Sanders. You just grab the headline, oh, I'm in favor of Medicare for all, but then your policy is just letting more people into Medicare. It's not like ending the private insurance market and creating socialized medicine.
He is Rich Lowry. He's the editor of National Review, nationalreview.com, Fox News contributor, author of the book Lincoln Unbound. Rich, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, have a great week.
You too.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Oh, wow.
happy. Oh, yes, yes, yes!
Where have you been? If you snore, the first time you use Mute can be quite an experience.
I can breathe! I can breathe!
Snoring can happen when your nose is blocked, forcing you to breathe through your mouth. Mute is a comfortable nasal breathing device designed to increase airflow through the nose by gently opening the airways. Thanks to Mute, you get all the air you need through your nose and not your mouth, which means less snoring and more chance of sleep.
Oh, that's the best night I've had in years.
In trials, 75% of couples reported a reduction in snoring when using Mute. Available at Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and other fine stores. To find your local store or for more information, go to mutesnoring.com. Mute. Breathe more, snore less, sleep better.
Oh, Mother's Day is this weekend. Best holiday of the year. And if you want to give mom something unique for this Mother's Day, give her the gift of life. Give her Balance of Nature. It's 10 servings of 31 fruits and veggies all in a single capsule. Admit it, none of us eat enough fruits and veggies on our own. And that's why Balance of Nature is so great. It's easy, it's healthy, and yes, the testimonials you hear right here on AM 560 are real. I've met Dr. Douglas Howard, founder and creator of Balance of Nature. He showed me the emails that he receives and played the voicemails that he gets from real people who are living healthier lives because of Balance of Nature. I'm one of them now, too. So get on board and try Balance of Nature. And again, from now until May 10th, receive a 15% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. And just in time for Mother's Day, receive an extra $10 off any additional set of fruits and veggies that you purchase. But this offer ends May 10th. So do not wait. Call 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
When you hire a new employee, do you really know who you're hiring? What if you could do thorough research on potential employees and avoid future HR conflicts and trouble? It may sound like a daunting task, but with ETS Intelligence LLC, it's easy to get all the info on a potential hire. ETS is one of the leading private detective and security agencies in the U.S. Their client roster includes major law firms, insurance companies, high net worth individuals, and more. Our world can be a dangerous place to live and do business in. ETS Intelligence makes you safe by specializing in complex and high-tech investigations, background checks, computer forensics, surveillance, forensic accounting, and more. Let ETS Intelligence be the vetting intelligence agency for your company or business. They also provide personal security services. ETS Intelligence LLC, owned and operated by experienced active duty law enforcement. Call toll-free 800-230-7429. 800-230-7429.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson. Spring is the perfect time to take notice of any paint issues. Call the professionals at CertaPro Painters right away to take care of your home. Our front porch and back porches were chipping and peeling, just an eyesore. But CertaPro Painters swooped in and made a huge difference. They also painted a majority of our rooms in our house, the quality, service, and attention to detail like no other paint company. You know, spring is the season of change. Time to change your wall color or exterior and transform your home with an updated new look. And if you want some help with colors, they've got you covered with in-home color consultation or online with a color visualizer. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting expert. Schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, excellent Saturday essay in the Wall Street Journal by Rich Karlgaard, who's got a forthcoming book on the topic. Late bloomers. It's never too late to start a brilliant career. You know, Colonel Sanders started at KFC when he was 50.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Did not know that.
The vast majority of us will be better served not by high SAT scores or STEM degrees, but by discovering and embracing our true talents. and very interesting science behind this. There was a 2015 study published in the journal Psychological Science, which I know you subscribe to.
Yes, and I want my copy from last month back, please.
Neuroscientists Laura Germain and Joshua Hartshorn measured the abilities of nearly 50,000 adult subjects of various ages on an online cognitive tests. At any given age, you're getting better at some things, you're getting worse at some other things, and you're at a plateau at some other things, was essentially their conclusion. It's probably not one age at which you're peak on most things, much less all of them. In their study, for example, just to add some more texture to it, the speed of information processing appeared to peak early at around 18 or 19. Short-term memory continued to improve until 25, then leveled off for another decade. The ability to evaluate complex patterns, including other people's emotional states, on the other hand, peaked much later when participants were in their 40s and 50s. All of these, of course, are skills and attributes. The findings validate what previous cognitive research revealed. There's two forms of intelligence, fluid and crystallized. Fluid is the capacity to reason, solve problems, independent knowledge from the past. That peaks earlier in life. Crystallized intelligence, the ability to use skills, knowledge, and experience, it shows rising levels of performance of crystallized intelligence well into middle age and beyond. The best way for older adults to compensate for declines in youthful fluid intelligence is to select jobs and goals that optimize their crystallized knowledge and skills. So, I mean, it's a long way away, a long way around to saying what was said before, the way to achieve the most and to be most self-actualized is to pursue those things that you have a demonstrable talent in. And frankly, a talent that's developed. So all of this genuflecting before the ingenues and the wunderkind is misplaced. In point of fact, people older in life that have high levels of crystallized knowledge can do big things, can start brilliant
there's
careers.
Still hope for me?
Yes.
And for you?
Well, right. So there's late bloomers and there's, you know.
My mom wants to get a job. She wants to be a greeter at Walmart.
Okay.
I said, all right.
And the crystallized knowledge from her experience raising you kids.
She's very gregarious, and I think she'd be wonderful, and she'd be very helpful at the
Yeah.
front. But they said, then, you can't really just get up and go, Mom, if you want to come see the kids or, you have a job. So then you're going to have to put in for vacation time and all, it's a job.
Okay, all right. That's
might not
an
be
example.
The same thing.
No, I mean, but there's just some interesting data on this. So the idea that you put people out to pasture when they're in their 50s, much less younger. Listen,
and the whole IT world is young kids, but you know what? It's the more experienced members that are selling and pushing the product.
Well, it's also leadership, executive leadership. Again, the point, the peak of evaluating complex patterns, including other people's emotional states, 40 participants in the study in their 40s and 50s. That's executive leadership. That's an executive leadership quality. Interesting, too. Creativity and innovation. Does that belong to the young? Not really. The average age of scientists when they're doing work that eventually leads to a Nobel Prize is 39.
Right.
The average age of U.S. patent applicants is 47.
Oh, see, there you go.
So it's just so much more complicated than just serving the young. And also, too, it's stick-to-itiveness over time that's usually required for success. Very few people are overnight successes. Ken Fisher, as an example, he runs Fisher Investments, stock fund with $100 billion under management, 50,000 customers. He graduated after graduating from high school. He flunked out of junior college, saying, I had no particular direction. He went back to school to study forestry. He wanted a career outdoors, but switched to economics, got his degree in 1972. In his early 20s, he hung out at a shingle as a financial advisor following his father's career. But he took construction jobs on the side, played slide guitar in a bar on the side to just make ends meet. And he started reading books about management and business, a bunch of trade magazines. By the time he reached his 30s, an idea had gelled that would make him a fortune. As he puts it, during that period of reflection, I developed a theory about valuing companies that was a bit unconventional. I mean, Tom Brady had a battle for quarterback, University of Michigan. He was a mid-round draft pick. And then, of course, he goes on to be arguably the best quarterback in NFL history, even though he's a cheater.
And one of the oldest ones now.
Well, right. So it's a really interesting piece, and I think it should be widely read because this idea, number one, this idea that you can't bloom late and something you've been pursuing is wrong. Number two, the idea that you have to do what you've been doing into your 20s or 30s or 40s if you have a talent and an interest in some other space is also wrong.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, an astonishing twist at the Kentucky Derby. Was it political correctness?
We'll talk to Jonathan Honan, Capitalist Pig, at 7:37. Ask him about Charlie Munger. That's Warren Buffett's right-hand man. His characterization of AOC and Elizabeth Warren as idiots. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
Skies are fair, 57 degrees. The U.S. deploying a carrier strike group and bombers to the Middle East. Developments from Fox's Garrett Tenney this morning.
It's rare for deployments like this to be announced ahead of time, and U.S. officials are not giving a lot of details on what prompted the move. But the president's national security advisor, John Bolton, says there has been escalating and troubling indications that either Iran or its proxies were preparing for some kind of attack, either against the U.S. or its allies. In response, the U.S. is sending the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group and a bomber task force to the Middle East to, as John Bolton put it, send a clear and unmistakable message to the Iranian regime that any attack on the United States' interest or on those of our allies will be met with unrelenting force.
The move comes after a series of rocket strikes against Israel by forces in the Gaza Strip that are allied with Iran. Crews are working to drain fuel from a plane that slid off a runway and into a river in Florida. Plane on a flight from Guantanamo Bay slipped off the runway at Naval Air Station Jacksonville Friday. Boeing is admitting it knew its 737 MAX planes had some problems months before one crashed last October. Aviation expert Tom Costello has details.
Boeing now says it knew that a warning system that was supposed to be a standard feature was not working properly on all 737 MAXs. It's not clear if that alert system would have prevented the crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia.
However, that alert was supposed to warn pilots when there was a disagreement between two sensors that measured the angle the plane is pointing. A manhunt continues for a cop killer in Mississippi. Police in Biloxi say an officer was shot several times outside of a police station late Sunday night. A suspect escaped. A federal judge will announce her sentence for a 25-year-old arrested in a 2012 FBI terror sting after trying to ignite what he thought was a real bomb outside a Chicago bar. The judge's sentence will happen today. For Adele Daoud, prosecutors want a 40-year prison term for the Hillside Man. Cubs hammered the Cardinals 13-5. Red Sox over the White Sox 9-2. The news service of Wyndham Hotels and Resorts. With more than 6,000 hotels across the country, including La Quinta Days Inn and Super 8, a great hotel by Wyndham is closer than you think. Find one near you and book direct at wyndhamhotels.com. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560, The Answer.
Do you own or run a thriving business in the Chicagoland area? Have you overcome obstacles to make your business what it is today? If that's your business, then AM 560 wants to tell your story on the AM 560 Business Tour, presented by Signature Bank. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson will be broadcasting live from businesses all around Chicagoland, telling success stories of thriving, successful businesses. Hey, if that's you, tell us about it. Visit 560theanswer.com/business and submit your information. That's 560theanswer.com/business.
My name is David Hochberg at Team Hochberg. Here's a secret my competitors won't tell you. Every conventional FHA, VA, rural, and reverse mortgage loan has closing costs. Borrowers can receive a closing cost credit for some or all of the closing costs by securing a higher interest rate on their loan. Over the past 18 years, I've closed thousands of loans. Some borrowers elected to go at the higher rate to receive a closing cost credit, and others elected to pay their closing costs to secure a lower rate. Team Hochberg doesn't play the no closing cost game in our ads. So if you want to work with the no closing cost carnival barkers, call my competitors. If you want to work with an honest local lender who will always look out for your financial best interest, call Team Hochberg now at 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License, MB 6761019, NMLS 1124061.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
If you've been in business more than 20 minutes, you've probably printed your logo on all kinds of promotional products. We all know promotional products work because they're everywhere from sales meetings and corporate events to trade shows. Ever wondered why or how to best use promotional products to grow your business? Let us show you today for free. We're 4imprint, promotional product experts at your service. We're giving away an ebook called Promotional Products Work, absolutely free, to everyone who texts radio to 88988. At 4imprint, we make your logo look perfect on thousands of promotional items. With our 100% guarantee, it'll be right the first time, on time, every time. Your free ebook will reveal valuable insights that can attract new customers, build your brand, help your cause, or simply grow your business. Get the ebook Promotional Products Work absolutely free by texting radio to 88988. That's RADIO to 88988.
Check out Ground Game, the latest podcast from the Associated Press discussing the top political issues around the country. Available on Apple Podcasts.
7:37 and a check on the roads in the AM 560 traffic center with Jim Telemonte.
Inbound Kennedy traffic snarled Canfield to Diversey after a crash. Then it's heavy North Avenue to the Burns Circle, 58 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 28 from Montrose, 20 in the Express. Outbound 58 minutes to O'Hare. Edens is 24 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. Eisenhower, 57 minutes, 390 to downtown, 42 from Manheim, outbound 51 to 390. Stevenson is an hour and 2 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 18 minutes, 80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 30. The northbound Tri-State has heavy delays. Southwest Highway to the Hinsdale Oasis. From Ogden to the Bensonville Bridge. Westbound Indiana Toll Road, Calumet Avenue to the West Point Toll. It's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte. On AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center, cloudy, couple of showers. Not quite as warm this afternoon as it was during yesterday's beautiful afternoon. 66 for a high temp today. Showers in 42 overnight. Currently 59. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
A little Queensryche on a Monday morning. Gotta like that. Dan and Amy and Charlie Munger. He's vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway. He's Warren Buffett's right-hand man. He sat down with an interview, Yahoo Finance editor-in-chief Andy Serwer. I don't think Ocasio-Cortez knows who Adam Smith was. That's a powerful statement considering she has a degree from Boston University in economics, doesn't she? Was it in economics? Or she certainly...
No, yeah, it was economics degree.
She certainly suggests that she has taken an economics course, has even passed one.
Degree.
On Elizabeth Warren, Munger said that she hasn't studied Adam Smith enough. Oh, I think she has. I just don't think she cares. Charlie Munger's being a little naive, perhaps purposefully, as if they don't understand the wealth engine, as opposed to they're not interested in it because they're interested in the power engine. That's the difference. He went on to question the severity of income and wealth inequality as an issue, belittling Ocasio-Cortez and Warren, saying, the people screaming about it are idiots. It's going to go away by itself. It's a problem if enough politicians are screaming about it. That makes it a problem. And he said of those two, again, I don't consider those two necessarily the best prescribers in the world when in reference to Elizabeth Warren's wealth tax and Ocasio-Cortez's proposal of a top marginal rate of 70%. For more on this topic and a few others like tariffs, we're pleased to be joined again by our friend Jonathan Honig, the capitalist pig. He is also a Fox News contributor, and don't forget his new book on Ayn Rand, a new textbook for Americanism, The Politics of Ayn Rand. And you got an event coming up May 8th at the Heartland Institute, don't you, Jonathan?
Yeah, Dan, great to be with you and Amy again this morning. You do have to shake your head time and time again when you hear a lot of the policies from the socialists, the leftists, even some on the right these days. You mentioned tariffs. You know, the market's going to open down pretty sharply this morning. So there's this great debate now about just what America represents, what policies best reflect it and best emphasize it, and best help us get to a free and prosperous America for all. And that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about this Wednesday at the Heartland Institute, 3939 North Wilkie at 5:30. Great organization. They're always helping to promote free market ideas in almost every realm. So I'm just really excited to be there this Wednesday talking about my new book.
Well, because of President Trump's tweet about adding new tariffs to China or on China, what do you think, how that's going to affect the market today? And was it really responsible of him to tweet something that's not true?
Well, what's not true about it, Amy, more than anything, is that tariffs somehow impact the Chinese. The president has said time and time again that, you know, we're taking all this money because of tariffs on the Chinese. I mean, this is just factually wrong. Tariffs are taxes on Americans. They're taxes on products that Americans want to buy from that happen to be from Chinese companies. So all these tens of billions of dollars, and I believe it's something like $1 billion a day now coming into American coffers or the president's coffers, those are taxes from Americans, Amy, and that's really having, in fact, a negative impact on the economy. But any economics textbook would tell you that. As Dan pointed out, it's not as if economics are unknown. The problem is the morality, that sense that, oh, well, we have to sacrifice for our neighbor, sacrifice for the country. And that, in that sense, the president is the same as AOC. They just want us to sacrifice for other people. And this is just the opposite of what real Americanism is about. Americanism is about individualism. It's about making the most of your life. And my gosh, if you worked your whole life and want to buy a foreign car or a foreign chocolate bar, Americans should applaud that, not make you feel guilty about it and tax you because of it.
Well, and Trump's in a strong position to make this case, even though it's a misguided one, because of the economy's performance. You had a great jobs number posted on Friday. You've got productivity growth, which is leading to wage growth. You've got more available jobs than Americans prepared to fill them. So the president is sort of in a strong position to do some saber rattling with respect to the Chinese.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, what has made the country strong, Dan. You know, the president would have you believe it's been tariffs, it's been taxes. You have the same supposedly conservative, low tax conservatives now applauding taxes on Americans. And keep in mind, economics is a science of secondary and third effects. So you don't always see necessarily the immediate impacts of things like taxes and tariffs in effect. So there is no such thing as a free lunch, Dan. You know that. Anyone who studied economics for a minute knows that. So I know that the tariffs are having a negative impact on America. Now, look, it doesn't mean that you want to advocate for socialist policies in the country, but we know what has made us successful and prosperous. That's that individualist spirit. So this whole nationalist of, you know, you must sacrifice yourself. And, you know, Dan, ask some of our farmers, our listeners who are farmers, how the tariffs are doing for them.
Right.
They've, in fact, been made the sacrifices because of these tariffs. So we need to get back to individualism, capitalism. That's what I'm going to be talking about at the Heartland, and that's what really America is all about.
Now the U.S. jobless rate dropped to the lowest point in 50 years on Friday, but Democrats seem to be more gloom about it. Do you think it's interesting how they're trying to search for ways to downplay Trump's great economy?
Well, look, the Democrats are playing the game and Republicans are playing the game. This tribal sense of, you know, it's either my team or your team winning. And this is, I think, different at this time in our history, Amy. It used to be, at least on the very surface level, somewhat about ideas, about ideology, about principles. I mean, that's really what the country's founded on. I mean, even just look at how some of the so-called conservative ideologies have changed over time. They would have been abhorring the minimum wage and tariffs just even a couple of decades ago. So, look, I think what impresses me are politicians who can stand on principle, who can stand up for what's right when it's right and what's wrong when it's wrong. And, you know, that's what I think we should be applauding. So for any Democrat to be talking down the economy, but what is the economy, Amy? What is the economy, Dan? It's successful American companies, businesses, entrepreneurs. So, you can't herald the U.S. economy and at the same point be saying, well, we got to do something about Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates and the evil tech pioneers. They're the ones that make the economy, that save the economy. So I'm all for celebrating the economy. The Democrats don't certainly do that. I'd like to see the Republicans do it a bit more as well.
Locally, since you're a denizen of Chicago, you've got a graduated state income tax amendment to the state constitution making its way to the ballot for November of 2020. And that obviously will, that sort of fair shareism will lead to a better distribution of the burden and happy days again in Illinois, will it not?
Well, listen, the only thing I think keeping the state afloat these days, Dan, are the companies, the major corporations that are likely to stay in this state and certainly stay in the city of Chicago. Look, people are voting with their feet. That's what they can do in a free economy and a free society. So we know that day after day, businesses, individuals are leaving this high tax, increasingly high regulation state. So the more that they want to pile on these taxes, the more they want to spend and enlarge these entitlement programs, Dan, the worse the state's finances are going to come. And look, you don't have to look too far to our neighbors to the northeast in terms of Michigan to know how bad things can get when you let spending and taxation get out of hand. Ultimately, when you let Democrats run the economy, but we're a long way far from that. We've got to keep it from getting there, Dan, with these more and more taxes from Springfield and City Hall.
So did you have a country house at 65 to 1? Let's see how good a prognosticator you are. Do you have country house or not?
We want to know if you can.
And were you involved in any sort of fixing? Do you know any of the stewards that made that very controversial call? We want full disclosure here.
No, I don't bet on horses. I bet on stocks.
There it is.
Pig.com.
There it is.
But boy, it's not over till truly that final gavel sounds. An amazing turn of events. A lot of money lost in Vegas over the weekend.
Yeah, $9 million, I think.
Don't bet on horses. Bet on the capitalist pig. There you go. That's a Kentucky Derby axiom.
Thanks, Dan, and thanks again for the shout out. And Amy, I look forward to seeing you and so many listeners at the Heartland Institute this Wednesday, 5:30, talking all about what real Americanism is.
He is Jonathan Honig, the Cat Pig, the book, a new textbook for Americanism, The Politics of Ayn Rand. Thanks, Jonathan.
Have a great one, guys.
You too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
When John Mariotti started Woodland Windows and Doors in 1969, he knew that relationships were important. He knew that he needed to look out for his customers' best interests. Today, Woodland is run by the second and third generation of Mariottis, who continue to build great relationships and to service their customers. Homeowners and builders turn to Woodland Windows and Doors for the individual attention they get on each project. They have a huge selection of replacement windows, skylights, and doors, specialists who know their stuff, and professional installation. Woodland has replacement and new windows, patio entry and scenic doors, and a reputation for bringing customers back for more. Every job is unique, every job is done right. That's why for 50 years, homeowners have trusted Woodland Windows and Doors with their projects. Woodland Windows and Doors, online at woodlandwindows.com or stop by their showroom on the corner of Lake and Gary in Roselle.
This is Dr. Howard, founder and formulator of Balance of Nature. We're changing America, one life at a time.
Every time you turn around, there's a new ad on the TV set. Bad drug, call this lawyer. Are you on this, that, or the other? And it's all the stuff they're promoting the year before. I've got stomach issues, regular arthritis, people have my age, and I wanted to get better, you know. Anything I can do that's healthy, that's natural, it makes sense. Tell Dr. Howard I really, really appreciate he made this stuff because I'll tell you, it really makes a big difference. Everything seems to be better.
From now until May 10th, receive a 15% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. And just in time for Mother's Day, receive an extra $10 off any additional set of fruits and veggies you purchase. This offer will end on May 10th, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Hey, take control of your income and your future. I'm talking about Online Trading Academy. They are the leader in trading and investing education with courses offered throughout the Chicagoland area and also East Peoria, Valparaiso, Lombard. With Online Trading Academy, you can learn about ways to generate income and protect your retirement. I signed up to take a free class at the Lombard location, and I was so impressed by what I experienced. I learned a lot about the markets and how to trade. The instructor was incredibly knowledgeable. He was actually funny, too. And he took time to explain to us their patented trading strategy. Now, after my experience, I really recommend that you give it a try. Sign up for the free introduction class, and I'm sure you'll walk away with a new understanding of trading. So call now to secure a spot, 844-778-7132. That's 844-778-7132. Call to attend and get 2 free passes to their next class so you can try it out for yourself. They will send you home with their Professionals Insider Kit. It's full of exclusive investing courses and some of their best lessons from the pros. Seats go quickly, folks, so call now, 844-778-7132. That's 844-778-7132, or visit them online at otaclass.com. That's otaclass.com.
The quivers, the shivers, goosebumps. That's what our customers say before 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning repairs their furnace. Call us. We'll fix it right, stand by our work, and give you our straightforward pricing, which means no hourly charges. How's that for goosebumps? Right now, get big savings on any heating repair. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
You're a do-it-yourselfer. You fix things around the house, take care of the yard, wash your car, and run your own business. But wow, when it comes to digital marketing and advertising, things aren't so do-it-yourself. Salem Surround can help. Get started with a free evaluation of your digital presence and some great ideas to increase your online visibility and revenue. Total market penetration for increased ROI. Learn more at surroundchicago.com. Surroundchicago.com. Connecting you with new customers.
We have to talk about it.
Nope, I don't wanna.
We have to.
No.
But we need life insurance.
I am not listening to you.
So you don't love me then?
What? Oh, fine. We need life insurance, but all the paperwork, it's such a pain.
Not with Ethos.
Ethos? Is that some kind of yoga thing?
No, Ethos is life insurance for people like us.
Like us?
People who don't have time for fine print, insurance jargon, and hidden fees.
Yeah, I pretty much hate all that stuff.
Of course you do. With Ethos, you can apply online, and there's a policy for every budget.
Really?
Yes. The online application only takes 10 minutes, and you'll be taking the first step in ensuring the kids and I'll be safe, even if something unexpected happens.
Ethos brings you choices that don't require an in-person meeting with an agent, and in most cases, there's no need for a doctor's appointment.
Feel better?
Yeah. I do.
Ethos, life insurance made simple. Apply online in just 10 minutes. Get a free instant quote now at ethoslife.com. That's ETHOS life.com. Ethoslife.com.
As a parent, you want what's best for your children. That means sending them to a school where they'll get the superior education they deserve, and that also shares your values. That can be tricky these days, as public schools have changed and private schools can be expensive. Your household budget has already been cut to the bone, and it's hard to imagine where you'll find that extra money. Well, there's help to lessen that financial burden and provide your child with the very best education at half the cost. At AM 560 The Answer, we work with private schools throughout the Chicagoland area to provide tuition for families at half the normal cost. Just log on to halfpriceschools.com and you'll find some of Chicagoland's finest private schools, from preschool all the way through high school, at half the cost. And chances are there's a school right in your neighborhood. Invest in your child's education and future at halfpriceschools.com. A limited number of half-price vouchers are available. Go to halfpriceschools.com now.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy and Dope for the Dopes in Illinois moving right along with marijuana legalization. Governor Spalding heralding it last week into the weekend.
Yeah, he was at the Black United Fund of Illinois on Chicago's South Side. And listen to this. He's going to expunge the records of 800,000 low-level drug convictions. They're misdemeanor class 4 felony marijuana convictions. But also, are you ready? The bill would allow possession of up to 30 grams of marijuana, or as we call it, marijuana, and 5 plants grown at home. Now, they're called small craft growers, Dan.
That makes it sound sort of
like it's a brewery.
kitschy and sexy. Yeah. Entrepreneurial, artisanal.
Right. In addition, adults would be allowed to grow up to 5 plants per household, but there are some rules. It has to be in a locked room out of public view.
Sure.
And if you rent, you have to get permission of the landowner.
Well, you make it a family affair. Like you, Peyton and Eli, you can have a little dope garden in your living room.
I don't.
How about that?
But then you can grow it and then sell it, or just you have to use it yourself. I mean, everyone is going to be stoned in the city of Chicago if we're allowed to grow up to 5 plants, because then 5 quickly turns into 10. And of course the city, they want to make money off of it. They're going to get permit fees, would be $100,000 for growers and $30,000 for retailers.
Revenue from Illinois' marijuana industry would be reinvested in communities that lawmakers said have been devastated by the nation's war on drugs. You're going to get the government into selling and essentially sanctioning the sale of drugs to help communities devastated by drugs. Got it? And everybody gets cut in on the action because that's how you sell it. Municipalities can add 3% sales tax. Counties can tack on another 0.5 point, 3.5 points in unincorporated areas. The revenue generated, tax revenue generated, 35% to the GRF, general fund, 25% for community reinvestment.
Whatever that meant.
20% for mental health and substance abuse treatment. That will spike because of the legalization.
We're going to get you hooked on something, and then we're going to help you get off of it.
10% for the state's unpaid bills, because we're in no big hurry to pay back $8 billion in unpaid bills for services or goods rendered. 8% for law enforcement training grants, 2% for public drug education. Don't do this thing that we're legalizing and commercializing and advertising. Got it. And then we're going to use drug money to fund law enforcement to deal with drug-related crime. Makes perfect sense. Got it. Very good. This is good. This is well.
I mean, and
this is going to go as well to revitalizing Illinois as the casinos did, as video poker did.
Yeah, and those who treat substance abuse warn of an increase in addiction if marijuana use is made legal. Now we're encouraging people to grow pot in their houses.
Alex Berenson, who we've had on the show, written a book on the topic, has a good piece in the Journal over the weekend about how they're trying that academics who are connected to the marijuana industry and are otherwise proponents are trying to downplay the negative effects in places like Colorado and Washington State. You can check that out for more detail. But it's just a larger, big scam. Big scam. The lottery is going to fund education.
Oh, yeah, toll roads.
Casinos, video poker, Keno for kids, Blagojevich proposed, sports betting, dope, mob economy in Illinois. You want to be a part of it, or you want to head out the door?
You can be a small craft grower. Oh, my God. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Russia, China, North Korea, Iran. We've got all the hits that we'll go over with Jed Babin, former Undersecretary of State at DOD. That's at 8:08.
But first, let's head straight into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
3 dead, 1 missing after a Waukegan factory explosion. Man hit and killed on the Dan Ryan Expressway. Weekend baseball found the Cubs sweeping the Cardinals. WIND, Chicago News Time, 8.
Trade talks with China too slow for President Trump. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. So he's threatening to raise and add tariffs to more Chinese products. That threat has stock markets and Dow futures down this morning. It comes as a Chinese delegation prepares for trade talks in Washington this week. At the White House Live, Fox's John Decker.
The president tweeting the United States has been losing for many years $600 to $800 billion a year on trade. With China, we lose with $500 billion. Sorry, we're not going to be doing that anymore. The tweet coming a day after the president threatened to impose more tariffs on Chinese goods in an attempt to force additional concessions in a final trade agreement. President Trump warned that he would increase tariffs on $200 billion in Chinese goods at the end of this week and shortly impose levies on hundreds of billions of dollars of additional imports. China, as a result, is considering pulling out of trade talks. Chris?
John, by this hour, Attorney General William Barr is supposed to have provided Congress with an unredacted version of the special counsel Russia election meddling report or risk being held in contempt by House Democrats. We have not heard, at least yet, that he has complied. Boeing now says that its engineers discovered a problem with a safety feature a year before a crash in Indonesia. but never notified airlines until then.
Boeing, whose 737 MAX 8 planes have been in 2 deadly crashes since October, said in a statement that the angle of attack sensor is not needed to fly safely. It will become a standard feature. The sensor measures airflow over a plane's wings, a key component to steady flight. Adjustments in that airflow can cause a plane to stall. The Federal Aviation Administration responded to Boeing's statement, saying better communication about the sensor to airlines could have averted confusion and perhaps prevented tragedy.
That's Fox's Gernal Scott. After protests, the governor of Brunei now says it will not enforce a new law where gay people can be stoned to death. This is Fox News.
Sunshine in Chicago, 59 degrees. It's 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The death toll from last week's massive explosion at A&B Specialty Silicones in Waukegan is now at 3. Crews found the bodies of 2 workers in the rubble of that building over the weekend.
Blew out all of the windows on the west side of the building, blew out 3 dock doors on there, just completely pushed them into the building on there. Our back wall is metal compared to the rest of the concrete building, and that metal wall is buckled on there, and some of the lights inside the building are all hanging everywhere. There's a lot of debris and stuff inside the building.
1 employee is still missing. Another victim identified as Alan Stevens died at a nearby hospital. A federal judge will announce her sentence for a 25-year-old arrested in a 2012 FBI terrorism sting after trying to ignite what he thought was a real car bomb outside of a Chicago bar. Judge's sentence today for Adel Daoud follows hearings last week. Prosecutors are demanding a 40-year prison term. Authorities are investigating after a man was struck and killed by an SUV on the Dan Ryan. That vehicle hit Jovan Towers, according to police, early yesterday while he was lying down in the far right-hand lane near West 69th. The driver was not hurt and has not been charged with the crime. Cubs hammer the Cardinals 13-5 at Wrigley Field. Red Sox over the White Sox 9-2. It's 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. And from the Fox Business Network, here is Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, markets are sharply lower after President Trump tweeted a threat over the weekend to raise tariffs on imports from China starting Friday. Though trade talks with China are scheduled to resume, Phil Orlando, chief equity market strategist at CFA, says it's not a done deal yet, and that has investors concerned.
The Chinese delegation was coming to the United States middle of this week to finalize some of these details. So I think the market is expressing some, perfectly reasonable nervousness given these recent turn of events in the context of how well the market's done the last 4 months.
Kraft Heinz is restating its earnings back to 2016. The company previously disclosed it received a subpoena from the Securities and Exchange Commission related to its accounting. The company says it's investigating certain misstatements. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jenny Cosola.
8:04, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
For more than 50 years, Mueller CPA, a certified public accounting and business advisory firm, has been serving clients in Chicagoland. Dave Nissen, Mueller's managing partner, is here to explain Mueller CPA's history, journey, and opportunity.
Thanks, Dan. Our firm was started by Al Mueller as a one-person CPA firm in 1968. Through growth and partnerships, Mueller CPA has blossomed from a regional firm to an organization that provides services worldwide. Mueller is a reflection of our years of listening and caring for our clients, and we would not be here today if it wasn't for our professionals and support personnel. We value the human side of our business and recognize it as being the most important element of our success. We are growing, we are hiring, and we welcome your interest in our firm.
If you are looking for your first opportunity or your forever career, join an award-winning team that cares about you. Visit the career page at MuellerCPA.com or call Dave directly at 630-524-5274.
Guardians of the Grass, run with us on a John Deere X300 Select Series lawn tractor built for versatility. Because when you take pride in your lawn, you do it all. You mulch, bag, haul, grow, mow, and a whole lot more. And that's why the X300 Series takes care of everything with attachments for all your spring and summer projects. Because you're not just doing yard work, you're creating common ground for the whole neighborhood to enjoy. Nothing runs like a Deere. Run with us. Search John Deere X300 for more.
At Dell, we know running a small business takes hard work. As a thank you, for all of Small Business Month, we're offering up to 45% off select computers with Intel Core processors. Plus, get additional savings when you call a Dell Small Business Technology Advisor. Call 877-BUY-DELL today. That's 877-BUY-DELL. Additional savings valid May 6th through 30th at 8 a.m. Eastern on select computers from customer calls Dell. Excludes Dell Canvas, PowerEdge T30, and select order codes.
.806 and a check on the roads in the AM 560 traffic center with Jim Telemonte.
Inbound Kennedy delays start at Harlem at 54 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 26 from Montrose, 28 in the Express, outbound 46 to the airport. 8 it's 22 minutes from Lake Cook to the Kennedy. Eisenhower inbound at 83. There's a crash in the right lane. It's an hour and 14 minutes, 390 to downtown, 42 minutes from Manheim, outbound 55 to 390. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 34 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 27 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishopport 30. Northbound Tri-State, it's jammed 95th to Archer with a stall in the right lane. Then from the Stevenson to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound Veterans and Moyle, it's heavy. I-55 to the Reagan Tollway and Army Trail to 290. It's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte. On AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Steve Williams.
Today, mostly cloudy with a couple of showers, the high 66. Clouds and showers tonight, low 42. A morning shower tomorrow, then breezy, clouds and sun, high 53. A thunderstorm on Wednesday morning, the high Wednesday 54. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Warming up a bit under the sunshine, 62 at O'Hare. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Russia, North Korea, Iran, China, meddling, missile testing, warmongering, stealing. We've got a lot to cover. And so we best get to it. We're pleased to be joined by Jed Babin, former United States Deputy Undersecretary of Defense, contributor to the Washington Times and the American Spectator. Jed, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good to be with you guys.
Why don't we start with Joe Biden? That's always a good place to start, his opining on geopolitical matters. Regarding China, the real problem the Chinese communists have is they can't figure out how they're going to deal with the corruption that exists within the system. Corruption and communism, shocking. I mean, you know, they're not bad folks, but guess what? They're not competition for us. So they're not competition, and they're not bad folks, those Chinese communists, according to Biden.
Yeah, well, I could go on for hours on old Joe. I mean, he's apparently a very nice guy. I've never met him, but he's one of those
very touching
guys who you just want to play poker with or, you know, take out fishing or something like that. But God knows you don't want to vote for the son of a gun. I mean, he's so wrong in so many ways. The fact is that the Chinese are eating our lunch. They've gone from, when you look at the economic factors, you look at the cyber espionage, the cyber security issues that we suffer from that, all of these things, and quite frankly, their huge military buildup and their aggression around the world. I mean, there's really no question that they are competing with us in ways that are strategic and are aimed at reducing our influence in the world and reducing our status as a superpower. And if you look at just the most recent articles that I've seen, and I wrote something about this in the American Spectator today, I mean, he's talking about how the union people are always supporting him, and, you know, quite frankly, they have. But if you look at the past 18 years, you know, 8 of which he was vice president for and participating with the Obama administration, well, you know, America lost 3.5 million manufacturing jobs in between 2001 and 2015. And those are due to unfair trade practices and currency manipulation by China. they've effectively stolen a large part of our economy through the theft of intellectual property and unfair trade practices. So, Joe is wrong on the economic sense. I can go on and on about the military buildup they're making, the fact that they're challenging us to developing hypersonic missiles. They're spending a lot more on their defense budget than pretty much any country other than us in terms of proportional terms and buying power of their currency. These guys are an adversary. They're a competitor. And Joe, again, he's a nice guy, but he's completely out to lunch.
Yeah, but do you think he'll try and take away Trump Democrats? I mean, is that the play here?
Amy, I think he's going to try, but I don't know that he can succeed. I mean, if you look at the way that the unions supported Trump in 2016, and again, the fact that Joe and Obama's policies had led to an enormous reduction in American jobs, now they're coming back thanks to Trump. I don't know that he's going to make that a success. I don't think he can.
All right, we've got a lot of axis of evil countries to cover here, so let's move on to North Korea. Interesting piece by a Tufts University professor, Sung-Yoon Lee, in the New York Times over the weekend about Kim Jong-un's short-range projectile launch on Saturday. He writes that it created the illusion that a more severe crisis had been averted while threatening to bring on one of those next by not launching an ICBM. Unless that is the United States backs down. This is what he says, sort of standard playbook orthodoxy from the North Koreans in terms of trying to get sanctions relaxed by the United States. And he suggests that the real play the United States should be making right now is to tighten up sanctions on the North Koreans, including and pass new ones, including the Otto Warmbier banking restrictions that involve North Korea. What's your view on what the U.S. reaction should be to what Jong-un did this weekend?
Well, as much as I hate to agree with anybody in academia,
yes.
I think the professor is right. I think that's exactly what we need to do. We need to keep on with the sanctions, tighten them up as much as we can, go on with whatever other program we have in terms of sanctions against North Korea. And God knows we do not want to back off on any of that stuff. I think Kim Jong-un is testing. He always will. He's going to go back to his more belligerent rhetoric pretty quickly and maybe even shoot off some longer-range missiles. I mean, Lord only knows. They may even test another nuke. But that's their typical blackmail. They're not going to get away with this president. And, I think that the right course is what we've set. I think Mr. Trump is quite frankly too optimistic about what's going to happen with North Korea. They're not going to denuclearize. They're not going to give up their nukes peacefully. It's just not going to happen. So we'll just have to see how far they're willing to push it, and quite frankly, what else we can do.
All right, let's move over to Iran. The U.S. is sending USS Abraham Lincoln carrier strike group and a bomber task force into the Middle East. What's the real reason why we're positioning ourselves there?
Well, Amy, I think it's fairly obvious that Iran is taking a lot of aggressive actions. I mean, you look at the Gaza Strip and the Hamas attacks on Israel. That's, I'm sure, backed up by Iran and probably propelled by Iran. You see them backing the Houthi rebels in Yemen, and they're still fighting with the Saudi coalition there. I mean, there's a lot of places around well, not our country, fortunately, but around the Middle East and around the world where Iran's malicious influence is being felt, and sending them a signal like this is okay. Certainly, I don't think we want to just go to war with them on the spur of the moment. But again, with respect to them, I would say the same thing as I would say to North Korea. They are not going to give up their nuclear program peacefully. So at some point, we're going to have to deal with it. And I don't know what that point is, but it's not breached quite yet.
There's a truce now with the respect to the fighting in Gaza, but Hamas and Islamic Jihad terrorists said on Sunday that they're close to open war with Israel. Is that just saber rattling, or is this something of particular concern?
Well, I think it's a great concern. I think it's not just saber rattling. I think, quite frankly, they were due for war. I think at this point, you're going to see probably a larger war in that area. I was predicting several months ago that we would see an Hezbollah war between Israel and the Hezbollah forces, the terrorists in Lebanon. I think you might see the Lebanese terrorists, Hezbollah, get involved at this point. It's certainly not over. The Israelis are planning a bigger move against Gaza, which they should be making. and Hamas is not going to stop firing the rockets.
Now, Ilhan Omar has weighed in on this. I know you're going to be interested to hear what she has to say. She responding to the fighting in Gaza. How many more protesters must be shot? Rockets must be fired. Little kids must be killed until the endless cycle of violence ends. The status quo of occupation and humanitarian crisis in Gaza is unsustainable. Only real justice can bring about security and lasting peace.
Yada, yada, yada. That's the same garbage that we've been hearing from the Palestinian leadership for, 50 years. She's just spouting their talking points, and it's painful to listen to anybody like that. I just don't bother. The real issue here is the Israelis are taking every step. They have for many, many years, taking every step to prevent civilian casualties. But you have a situation where Hamas hides in churches and mosques, in residential buildings, and they launch their weapons from there. The Israelis have no choice. People are going to get killed because Hamas is effectively making them human shields by hiding among them. The Israelis have every right. In fact, they have a duty to protect themselves and their people by shooting at these guys wherever they hide.
Going over to Russia and Vlad and the boys there. Trump meets with Putin last week, says they had a good meet, talked about the Mueller report. They both agreed there was no collusion. I don't know what else they would do. And didn't get around to talking about election meddling from a previous or future, but otherwise a good meeting, and we're going to do some business with Russia, and everything's fine.
Yeah, it was a lengthy Friday phone call for 1 hour.
Yeah, it was not a meeting; it was a phone call. But
okay.
I don't get what Trump is doing. There's so many other things he's doing that are very good, but talking with Putin like this, apparently confiding in Putin, maybe getting counseled by Putin. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what Trump is thinking, because, obviously among the untrustworthy people in the world, there's probably a top 5, and I would guess that Putin is within the top 2. I mean, anybody who trusts him is, quite frankly, being suckered, and I just don't get what Mr. Trump is trying to do.
It's just like the bromance again it's flaring up. It's just so strange.
He likes anybody who's not
weird.
Jim Comey. Yes.
Yeah, well, there is that. But, on the other hand, there are other people who can be or should be distrusted, in addition to Mr. Comey. And, again, Putin is right at the top of the list. I mean, you can look at the history of Mr. Putin's life. You can look at his background in the Soviet KGB. You can look at a whole lot of other things, and you can come to a conclusion about his trustworthiness. And quite frankly, there is no reason to trust him on any subject. So I don't know what Mr. Trump is doing. The fact that they're talking is not a bad thing. As Churchill said, jaw is better than war. Mm-hmm. But, you got to really, I'd have much more faith in these conversations if John Bolton was on the extension phone.
Let's come back to our hemisphere, Venezuela. Some suggestion that Trump invoke the Monroe Doctrine to facilitate the end of the Maduro regime and usher in the era of Guaido. What do you think the United States should be doing, if anything, that it's not?
Well, funny you mentioned the Monroe Doctrine. 1823, no European nation shall try to colonize the Western Hemisphere. That kind of is a really good idea, but we have not just the Russians in there and the Cubans in there. We have the Iranians in there. They're trying to create another Syria, a tributary state in Venezuela, and so far they're succeeding. Mr. Guaido misjudged the allegiance that he might get from military people and tried to stir up a coup last week. Didn't work. I think at this point, we do not have an immediate move. I think we need to track this very carefully, and quite frankly, we need to find a way to stir up a rebellion amongst the Venezuelans, if necessary, to arm them and provide them with communications equipment so that they can throw Maduro out. I think if we invade there, I think we would be not greeted as liberators. We would be greeted as conquerors. The bad guys from the north, the gringo turistas, are back. So I think at this point, again, I'm not ruling it out, I would not rule out the military intervention there if things get a lot worse in terms of Russian and Iranian involvement. But at this point, I would not suggest that we should do that.
Spanning the globe with Judd Babin, former United States Deputy Undersecretary of Defense, contributor to the Washington Times, the American Spectator. Judd, thanks for joining us, as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. He joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line. And Dan, we have some breaking news. Duchess Meghan of Sussex is in labor.
Oh, good grief. I mean, are you serious?
I am.
No,
she went to Northwestern. She was a Kappa.
Yeah, yeah.
She's a princess.
We'll keep you updated as this pregnancy develops.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
If you have pain, I hope you listen up. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You do not have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of the side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you could be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com.
Buckingham Palace has confirmed it that the Duchess went into labor in the early hours of this morning. Announcement will be made soon.
Have we been bought by the E! Network?
Women care about this, and men cannot stand this story.
I'd love to hear from women who don't care about this.
Yeah, 312-642-5600.
Clear the lines, because they're going to start lighting up.
Yeah, 312-642-5600. And you know what? Just in time for Mother's Day, Meghan Markle's going to have her baby. Anywho, speaking of Mother's Day, there's a great gift for your mom. That's 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies all in a single capsule. Of course, I'm talking about Balance of Nature, because admit it, none of us eat enough fruits and veggies on our own, and that's why Balance of Nature is so great. It's easy and it's healthy. And yes, the testimonials you hear on the station are real. I've met and spoken to Dr. Douglas Howard, founder and creator of Balance of Nature. So here's what you do. From now until May 10th, you can receive a 15% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. And again, just in time for Mother's Day, you'll receive an extra $10 off any additional set of fruits and veggies that you purchase. But this offer ends May 10th. Do not wait. Call 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago, or go to balanceofnature.com and use the discount code Chicago.
Here's some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or more importantly, if you sign up for a plan that you're just not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called Medi-Share, and Medi-Share is a Christian healthcare sharing program. It's been around for 25 years. They have more than 400,000 members now around the country. And get this, over the years, Medi-Share members have shared more than $2 billion of each other's medical bills, so they could help share your needs too. And best of all, you could save a lot of money with Medi-Share. The typical savings for a family is around $500 a month. Your savings could be more or less, but think about what you could do with that extra money every month. So if you think you're stuck with a high-cost health plan that doesn't have much to offer, think again. You can join Medi-Share anytime, so call them today and check it out. There's no pressure. They're super easy to talk to. 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
If you've been in business more than 20 minutes, you've probably printed your logo on all kinds of promotional products. We all know promotional products work because they're everywhere, from sales meetings and corporate events to trade shows. Ever wondered why or how to best use promotional products to grow your business? Let us show you today for free. We're 4imprint, promotional product experts at your service. We're giving away an ebook called Promotional Products Work, absolutely free, to everyone who texts RADIO to 88988. At 4imprint, we make your logo look perfect on thousands of promotional items. With our 100% guarantee, it'll be right the first time, on time, every time. Your free ebook will reveal valuable insights that can attract new customers, build your brand, help your cause, or simply grow your business. Get the ebook Promotional Products Work absolutely free by texting RADIO to 88988. That's RADIO to 88988.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, question asked in piece by C.M. Bell in The Atlantic. What number of kids makes parents happiest? Hopefully it's a number equal to or less than the number of kids you actually have.
Yeah, I hope.
Otherwise, you may have to pair the kids. Brian,
you deal what God gives you. I mean, what number of kids make you happy?
Brian Kaplan, who's an economist, we've had him on the show talking about rethinking how we do education. He also wrote a book about rethinking how you do parenting. He was asked by the author, what's the optimal number of kids?
2. That's what I'd say. Well, you have 2 imaginary children. Fictitious children.
Brian Kaplan, if you have a typical level of American enjoyment of children and you're willing to actually adjust your parenting to the evidence on what matters, then I'll say right now the answer is 4.
4?
The correct answer is 4, according to Brian Kaplan. So you have 2 to go.
Look at Winner Chicken Dinner. Mike Scott, he's got 4 kids.
He's optimal.
Look at how happy
in every way, he's optimal.
But kids are expensive, and a lot of people that live in Chicago, the houses aren't that big to house that many children comfortably.
That's because you're doing parenting wrong.
Oh, really?
Many of the time and money-intensive things parents do in hopes of helping their children succeed, loading them up with extracurriculars, sending them to private school, don't actually contribute much to their future earnings or happiness. In other words, parents are making parenting unnecessarily dreadful. So maybe, according to Brian Kaplan, he was a George Mason University economist.
Yeah.
They should revisit their child rearing approach, and then if they can afford to, consider having more kids, because kids can be fun and fulfilling.
They can also be a pain in your butt.
They can be, right.
And they're expensive and sometimes unappreciative.
Well, yeah, exactly. I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to give you the optimal. Now, Kaplan admits that there's no real economics or science behind this. It's just sort of his. By the way, he has 4 kids too.
Well, you have what you can handle. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
I mean, if you know, but I hear from everybody, once you have 3, it doesn't matter if you have 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. Because then they start taking care of each other.
Well, sure, you got economies of scale.
Yeah.
It's classic, right. And also, you don't have to buy clothes again. It just clothes just go down the line, and everything just goes down the line, right?
I was the youngest of 3, so I'm very well aware of that.
So is 3 optimal or 2 optimal for you?
Well,
3 was optimal for apparently for your parents, or maybe it was only 2.
A mistake.
It was 2. See?
I love when they tell kids that too. And then I was supposed to be a boy.
Would it change your mind that 4 is optimal and not 2 if Meghan Markle had 4 kids?
She can have as many babies as she wants. And again, we will break it. You will hear it here first.
Wall to wall
covered. Well, her mom flew in last week to help out with a delivery. So we knew it was going to be soon. And she's a week overdue with the baby. And wait, this is the part when you say, I don't care.
No, this is the part where I say, apparently you didn't pick up on my sarcasm with the wall-to-wall details on this.
Fine. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're going to talk to Lara Logan, former CBS News foreign correspondent, who, as I understand, has been signed by Sinclair.
Oh, good.
She's back in business, so that's good news. And she's going to give us her take, which should be very entertaining and detailed, on the D.C. press corps coverage of the Mueller report release, of the Barr testimony. So you want to stay tuned for that at 8:38.
But first, let's head straight into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Yes, Meghan Markle is in labor.
Yay, I knew you'd report on it. Anyone who has a cell phone, it's blowing up right now with this information.
Really? Why is my cell phone not blowing up with Meghan Markle news? I don't know why. Perhaps because my number 2 turned 20 today, and I'm about to turn him loose on the world. 62 degrees and blue skies outside and sunshine. President Trump's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, is scheduled to head to prison today. He'll be behind bars at the Federal Correction Facility in Otisville, New York. Pentagon reports 2 U.S. warships sailed near Chinese-claimed islands in the South China Sea today. The 7th Fleet says the guided missile destroyer made innocent passage to challenge claims by China. Palestinian officials say Egypt has mediated a truce between Israel and Gaza, ending 3 days of violence that killed nearly 24 people. Boeing admitting it knew its 737 MAX planes had problems months before one crashed in October. Aviation reporter Tom Costello.
Boeing now says it knew that a warning system that was supposed to be a standard feature was not working properly on all 737 MAXs. It's not clear if that alert system would have prevented the crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia.
The alert was supposed to warn pilots when there was a disagreement between sensors that measured the angle the plane was pointing. The death toll from last week's massive explosion at A&B Specialty Silicones factory in Waukegan is now at 3. One employee remains missing. And we'll be watching this morning the Dirksen Federal Building as a federal judge will announce her sentence for a 25-year-old arrested in a 2012 FBI terrorism sting after trying to ignite what he thought was a bomb outside of a Chicago bar. Judge's sentence today for Adel Daoud follows hearings last week. Prosecutors want a 40-year prison term. Cubs sweep out the Cardinals with a 13-5 win at Wrigley. Red Sox over the White Sox 9-2. The Bears making some moves after rookie camp yesterday, signing offensive lineman Tommy Doles and defensive end Jalen Dalton. Chicago also released kickers Redford Jones and John Barron. The news, a service of InvisibleFence.com. Pet parents trust Invisible Fence brand to protect their pets from escape and provide extra freedom. For a limited time, get 50% off the installation of a Boundary Plus containment system, awarded a Consumer's Digest Best Buy. Visit InvisibleFence.com to learn more. InvisibleFence.com. 8:32 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is not the biggest fan of social media.
I don't want to do Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I'm sorry. People spend more time apologizing and taking stuff down and getting blasted. I hate it. That's why I only post animal videos. I only post cute puppy pictures and videos on Twitter. I ain't doing it.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Bob Aument, a founding partner of the law firm of Dassman & Aument and longtime personal customer of Signature Bank. Our firm recently left one of the larger banks to bank with Signature Bank, and it's been a refreshing change. With Signature Bank, we've been able to tailor banking solutions that fit the specific needs of our firm. Beyond that, Signature Bank is responsive, efficient, and timely in meeting those needs. If I have a request, I pick up the phone and talk to Mick O'Rourke, not someone at a phone bank thousands of miles away. Dassman & Aument needed more than what the larger banks offer, and we found that with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. See website for full details.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive Little Blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. Right now, get your first month supply for free. All you pay is just $5 for your medical consultation when you go to 4hims.com/plan. After that, it's just $30 for a month's supply. Sure beats paying big bucks for just one blue pill, doesn't it? Plus, you won't need an awkward in-person doctor's appointment to get the prescription. Hims has doctors online who can prescribe the medication, and a pharmacy sends it right to your door. It's affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To get your first order for just $5, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/plan. That's 4hims.com/plan for your first month for just $5. 4hims.com/plan.
8:35 and a check on the roads in the AM 560 traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
The eastbound Reagan Tollway's jammed. The Fox River to 53 after a crash, then it's tight 22nd at York. Veterans Memorial northbound, long delay from I-55 to the Reagan Tollway, and from Army Trail to 290 northbound Tri-State. It's bottled up. 95th to Archer, and from the Stevenson up to the Toohey Toll Plaza. Eastbound Adams Tollway has delays. 25 to Higgins and Hoffman Estates, and Toohey to the Tri-State. Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown, spending 54 minutes. It's heavier in the express lanes. Eisenhower, an hour and 14 minutes, 390 to downtown. 45 minutes from Manhunt. Stevenson, an hour and 7 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 38 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 30 minutes, 90 to the Merge. Bishop, 435. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte. On AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Sunshine this morning, cloudy with a couple of showers this afternoon, and not as warm, a high of 66. Currently, we have 62. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
Coming up next, it's me, Mike Gallagher, right after Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and back by popular demand, former CBS News foreign correspondent, and I believe it's public knowledge, because I read it in a public outlet, that Lara Logan has been signed by Sinclair.
Yay.
So she's back in business, which is good news, and she's back with us, which is better news. Lara, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning.
Morning. So why don't we start with the D.C. press corps' coverage of the cavalcade of fun that was had on the Hill last week with Attorney General Barr testifying, offering such insight into cloak and dagger happenings as how he responded to Bob Mueller's letter. He picked up the phone and said, "Hey, Bob, what's with the letter?"
Well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised because there's been a consistent dropping of standards and a consistent departure from what journalism is supposed to be. But I guess because I've worked with so many good journalists over the years and I've seen a lot of good work done, I'm still kind of always hopeful that people are going to remember what it is we're supposed to do, which is to search for the facts and not the facts that support. You know, we have that old saying, right? Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to look for the truth, and it's not supposed to be guided by politics. And, you know, I have to say it again, because apparently the only people not listening to this are the propagandists and the journalists pushing that propaganda. The people in this country they're not prepared to put up with this anymore. They're tired of it. And as much as people may want what Bob Mueller was investigating to be true, he didn't find the evidence. He didn't say it was true. So at a certain point, you have to look beyond the political narrative that is being pushed and ask why. Why? What really happened, and why did it happen, and who was responsible? The most basic questions of journalism: who, why, where, how, and when.
But journalists want to see an unredacted version of the Mueller report. And do you think that they should have access to that?
Well, first of all, it's not my position to decide. It's no journalist's position to decide who gets access to what. There's something called the law. What does the law say in these situations? I mean, you only have to go back, of course, and other people have done it, to the prosecutor who was appointed, Kenneth Starr, when he investigated Bill Clinton. Well, that was under different legal authorities. Why? Because the Democrats didn't like the legal authorities that permitted people to see their report. And so they let those laws lapse. And that's why a special prosecutor had to be appointed under a different set of laws. You know, so it's not up to what journalists want or what journalists don't want. We don't have a voice as an entity like that. What we actually work for something called the truth. And that's what every journalist should want. And, you know, it's just that you can apply a standard. It never fails me, which is called, if it were reversed, right? Sal Atkinson wrote a wonderful book about this. We know that if you reverse the roles, what you end up with. Well, if you reverse the roles, I mean, I can point you to a political piece, a political magazine piece, before the election results was held, that literally laid out how the Clinton administration, how the progressives were planning on taking out James Comey and justifying taking him out. A runaway FBI director, he was described as the most dangerous and out of control since Hoover. And then suddenly he gets fired by Trump, and now it's James Comey is the greatest FBI director in the history of the world. And how could he have been fired? This must point to something nefarious happening in the government. If you're paying attention, and of course most people don't get to pay attention because they're running around, trying to pay their bills and feed their families and do their jobs and live, decent, responsible lives. But for people like me whose job it is to pay attention and look for what the real stories are and follow the facts and find the truth, well, when I watch this landscape, it's obvious. Unfortunately, more and more people are recognizing these patterns because good propaganda follows a pattern, right? Bad propaganda follows a pattern. And more of those patterns are becoming visible. They've been completely and utterly exposed with the Mueller report. But what you've got here is a case of, even when faced with photographic evidence, right? Deny, deny, deny. Let's make it about something else. Let's find another red herring. And every single journalist who's doing that today should be held accountable for that.
What?
And they should be holding themselves accountable. And moreover, all that false reporting, right? What happened to all the people who did that false reporting? And they were awarded prizes for that. In the journalistic establishment, we lauded praise on each other and recognition for this outstanding work. I don't understand how anyone could have done that, because long before the Mueller report came out, in the first reading of the BuzzFeed, of the dossier that was afterwards printed by BuzzFeed, it was so obvious. The truth was so obvious. You didn't have a single first-hand source. You had the most outlandish claims. You had nobody answering the question of who paid for this, why they were doing it. Why were some people in America allowed to sit down with acting intelligence agents for Putin's government and other people are not? That's the standard. If it were the other way around, putting that standard in place. Why are some people allowed to meet with Russian intelligence agents and some people not? Why are some people allowed, some political campaigns allowed to use intelligence provided by Vladimir Putin, information provided by him? Why are some campaigns allowed to use that as leverage against another campaign and others are not? Why are some people in America allowed to use that to go to the courts and some people are not?
And
it doesn't make any sense. You're making a fuss about a meeting at Trump Tower over the Magnitsky Act and with people and trying to connect these people to Putin. Another American campaign has literally paid people to travel to Russia to actually have meetings with FSB agents, document the information they're given, and leak that, not only to journalists, but take it to the Department of Justice, take it to the FBI, and take it to the Hill. I'm stunned that journalists are not doing stories about this.
Well, and the other
Why
thing...
are they not investigating this?
The other thing here, too, is the people who got it right, who are also ignored. So we ignore the people who got it wrong consistently and continue to in some respects, even though there's been some rapprochement from the New York Times and others about, well, maybe we didn't have it all totally right. But people like Kim Strassel at the Wall Street Journal, people like John Solomon at the Hill, Byron York at the Washington Examiner, these people consistently got it right for the last 2 years, and they're also still ignored.
Yes, they get ignored. And you know what? I have a problem with the New York Times and the Washington Post. They're not saying we got it wrong. They're not standing up and saying, as a newspaper, we got it completely and utterly wrong. Where are all the reports saying, yes, the Trump campaign was spied upon? Take one journalist to go back and look at all those headlines and all the articles that were run mocking the Trump administration and mocking Trump himself for saying that his campaign was spied upon. Did he use the wrong words? Really? Because he said he was wiretapped and that technology went out with the ARC? Yes, it was the wrong choice of words. But what he was saying was my campaign was spied upon. And you know what? It was. And the basis for spying upon him? Oh, yes, that's right. Information gathered by the other political campaign opposing him in reaction and delivered on a silver platter by Vladimir Putin's intelligence agents at actual meetings that really did take place with the intent of destroying the electoral process in this country. Vladimir Putin played both sides in this. It doesn't take, it really doesn't take half a brain to figure that out. The more time America spends eating itself alive and tearing each other apart, the more space and opportunity Vladimir Putin has to pursue an agenda and to undermine the U.S. and American interests all over the world. That's what he's been doing every single day. So what you can thank journalists for in this country, what you can thank politicians for in this country, is for enabling Vladimir Putin, not the Trump campaign for allowing him entry into the American political system, for putting a traitor and an intelligence asset in the White House. Let's just remind people, that's what the media was actually reporting. That's what people in this country were saying, that Donald Trump, the President of the United States, is an intelligence asset working for the Russian administration and Vladimir Putin. And so are members of his cabinet. That is the most outrageous claim when you look at the facts. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm not defending Donald Trump. I'm not defending his cabinet. I have no interest in the politics in this. My only interest is in the truth. And the truth here is that there is no president of the United States has ever been an intelligence asset for a foreign government. And for the people making a statement like that, why are they allowed to get away with that? Yeah, and why is Adam Schiff and John Brennan and Clapper, why are none of these people being held to account?
Well, you're right. I mean, and you're talking about accusations of treason, and that this is just like talk about a new normal or the obliteration of standards. You can just accuse the president of treason. You can accuse Bill Barr of treason after the fact, willy-nilly, no evidence, and then no repercussions, whether you're a member of Congress or you're a member of the press corps. It's troubling.
And let me give you a classic example. Where are the journalists who care so much, with so much about truth to power, right? This is what we do, the noble warriors. Yeah, that's us. So how come not a single journalist ever questioned the former U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch's handing over of the Hillary email case to the head of the FBI? The FBI is a law enforcement body. That's where they get their legal authority. What does law enforcement do? They investigate. Do they recommend for prosecution? No, that is not their job. What do? They investigate the facts. What does the Department of Justice do? These are the prosecutors. These are the people who recommend or take a case forward. They're the only agency, in fact, that has the legal authority to do so. So when Loretta Lynch has this meeting with Bill Clinton, and if anyone thinks that two politicians have been around the block 100 times, don't know perfectly well what they're doing, I would really question that assumption, number one. Number two, both of these people have an army of journalists around them the entire time. So the idea that they were going to meet on the tarmac and nobody was going to know about it, wow. Oh, okay, you really have to be stressing the truth here to think that that's realistic.
Well,
that's
yeah,
true.
And that he was going to go play golf in Arizona in the summertime when it's 112 degrees out. Come on.
The whole story stinks, right? It stinks. I can't prove any of that, but it stinks. What I can prove is that the law says prosecutors prosecute and investigators investigate. And the person who should have been handed to, that case should have been handed to, is the Deputy Attorney General. Why it was given from one agency to another is completely inexplicable to me. And nobody questioned the legal authority to do that. Nobody questioned the reasons for doing that. They just thought that Comey, did they think Comey was just going to do their bidding? And then they got upset when he didn't? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. That's completely speculating because I've never reported on the story. But what bothers me is that the facts are that the Attorney General should never have handed that case over. And the speed with which he did it made the hackles on my back rise because you never see that.
I want to go back to something you said earlier about patterns of propaganda. And it seems to me one of the patterns is applying different words in different circumstances depending on who you're reporting on. And this is the use of the word spying. So that the D.C. Press Corps routinely used the word as it pertained to FISA court applications, as it pertained to Carter Page. Bill Barr uses the word and people lose their minds over him suggesting spying, even when he provides additional context to say, I'm not saying illicit spying, I'm saying spying. It could be authorized and appropriate. It could be problematic, and that's why we're going to go back and look at it.
Well, it's just classic. Because what they want to say is, oh, we were investigating Carter Page, who, by the way, has never, ever, ever had a single charge laid against him. And this is the second time that they were investigating. Didn't have any charges against him the first time. In fact, what the FBI concluded, if you go back to their files, they actually concluded that Carter Page had absolutely no idea that the Russians who were the FBI then charged with spying, that they were even spies. Okay, so they cleared him in their first investigation, unequivocally, by the way. The language leaves no room for doubt. So you've cleared this guy. Now on the basis of what exactly are you now going to authorize this? And I say this because I'm not American. I came to this country as an immigrant, and this is my home. And when I've learned about the U.S. Constitution, is that it is the document is the foundation of everything in this country and in this society. So when you're going after amendments to the Constitution, like the right to privacy, these are among the most sacred tenets. Right? We don't violate these without real due cause. This is the Holy Grail in a sense. And suddenly, the Holy Grail doesn't matter as much anymore. Suddenly, you can unmask people and violate a person's right to privacy, American citizens, and you can do that in violation of all the rules and all the laws, and suddenly no one expects anyone to be held to account because there's a political motive for it. And it's the same thing with Carter Page. It's the same thing with spying on the Trump campaign. Nobody wants William Barr to use that word because when he uses that word, it takes on a degree of authority because he's saying it in his professional capacity. He's not one of these many politicians out on television saying whatever they want, right? Accusing anyone of whatever they want and throwing out egregious accusations against, let's not forget, right, Mark Flynn, a three-star general who spent most of his life serving this country in Iraq and Afghanistan, all the way back to Grenada. He was accused of being a traitor and being treasonous. Imagine what it's like for people like that when there's no basis to the accusations. Accusations, by the way, for which he has never, ever been charged, which are completely baseless. You've got to imagine that even a special counsel is recommending that he be treated leniently because he's been a true patriot. So it just is ironic that people jump up and down when William Barr uses the word, and now suddenly they want people to be very specific about what the word means. But we can throw that word out anytime we want, in any capacity we want, without ever having to be accountable for its consequences. And, as a journalist, I'm very aware of the consequences of what I do. I take those responsibilities extremely seriously. And I weigh those consequences and concerns against every single decision. That's what we all do. If you have integrity in your life and then you have to have it in your work. You can't tell yourself you're a good person at home and then go to work and do whatever you like, for whatever reason you want, and then still go home and tell yourself, but I'm still a good person. It doesn't work that way.
She is Lara Logan. She's former CBS News foreign correspondent and recent signee of Sinclair. Look forward to more from Lara and another appearance on the show. Lara, thanks so much for joining us as always. Appreciate your insights.
Thank you so much.
And she joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line. And it's a boy. Meghan Markle had a baby boy, 7 pounds, 3 ounces.
Who the hell cares, in the famous words of Peter Griffin.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruit and veggie capsules contain 100% vine-ripened fruits and vegetables, tested pure with no pesticides, fillers, or additives of any kind, and are the most effective whole food supplements on the market today. You might ask, how can over 10 servings of 31 different fruits and vegetables fit into 6 vegetarian capsules? Fruits and vegetables are on an average 85% water. Balance of Nature uses cold vacuum technology to remove the water, leaving only the whole food. We don't use any heat, air, or light drying methods that damage nutrients. Our cold vacuum technology maintains 99% of the fresh fruits and vegetables' original nutritional value. Along with diet and exercise, Mother Nature provides fruits and vegetables to help us maintain good health.
To order, go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751 and use discount code CHICAGO.
With the spring in full swing, it's time to think about your sump pump, and don't forget a battery backup. Important stuff, and just as important is who you contact for help, and that, of course, should be Permaseal. If you have a sump pump, it needs to be checked to make sure it's working properly. A battery backup is your safeguard in the event of a pump failure or power outage. But remember, all sump pumps fail. It's not a matter of if, but when. And independent lab results show that Permaseal battery backup systems are your best value in backup sump pump protection. Since 1979, Permaseal has been providing dry, healthy basements and crawl spaces to over 400,000 homeowners from all over Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. So get the peace of mind that comes with a dry basement or crawl space. Call 800-421-SEAL to schedule your free, no-obligation inspection. And if you're concerned about your sump pump system, you know who to call, Permaseal. 800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-7325, or go to permaseal.net.
We have to talk about it.
Nope, I don't wanna.
We have to.
No.
But we need life insurance.
I am not listening to you.
So you don't love me then?
What? Oh, fine. We need life insurance, but all the paperwork, it's such a pain.
Not with Ethos.
Ethos? Is that some kind of yoga thing?
No, Ethos is life insurance for people like us.
Like us?
People who don't have time for fine print, insurance jargon, and hidden fees.
Yeah, I pretty much hate all that stuff.
Of course you do. With Ethos, you can apply online, and there's a policy for every budget.
Really?
Yes. The online application only takes 10 minutes, and you'll be taking the first step in ensuring the kids and I'll be safe, even if something unexpected happens.
Ethos brings you choices that don't require an in-person meeting with an agent, and in most cases, there's no need for a doctor's appointment.
Feel better?
Yeah, I do.
Ethos, life insurance made simple. Apply online in just 10 minutes. Get a free instant quote now at ethoslife.com. That's ETHOS life.com. Ethoslife.com.
Hi, my name's Christina Stumble, and I own Farm Girl Flowers in San Francisco. With my Spark Cash Card from Capital One, I earn unlimited 2% cash back on all my business purchases. Last year, I redeemed $115,000 in cash back. Yeah, $115,000. And that doubled our digital marketing budget for the summer. Thanks to my Spark Card, we had our best summer yet. Imagine what the Spark Card from Capital One could do for your business. What's in your wallet?
Real Capital One customers pay for real stories. Credit approval required.